original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports a federal judge has blocked a Mississippi law intended to allow people who object on religious grounds to refuse weddings and other services to lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people. U.S. District Judge Carlton Reeves, in a ruling late on Thursday, said that the wide-ranging law adopted this spring unconstitutionally allowed arbitrary discrimination against the LGBT community, unmarried people, and others who do not share such views. Reeves, who issued a preliminary injunction halting the law that was to take effect on Friday, wrote, "The state has put its thumb on the scale to favor some religious beliefs over others. Mississippi is among a handful of southern U.S. states on the front lines of legal battles over equality, privacy, and religious freedom after the U.S. Supreme Court last year legalized same-sex marriage in all 50 states. Mississippi's Protecting Freedom of Conscience from Government Discrimination Act sought to shield those who believe that marriage involves a man and a woman and that sexual relations should occur within such marriages. The law also protected the belief that gender is defined by sex at birth. By citing those three religious grounds, the law would have allowed people to refuse to provide a wide range of services, from baking a wedding cake for a same-sex couple to counseling and fertility services. It also permitted dress code and bathroom restrictions to be imposed on transgender people. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
We have a breaking news blast on the tragic situation happening across the country, in which more than 40,000 Americans have been trapped in a Confessions animal hoarding marathon on Animal Planet for the last 13 hours. The Animal Hoarders Marathon began at 9 this morning as victims were preparing for a full day before hearing the fateful sound of the show's opening credits. Almost instantly, thousands were pinned to their couches by a story of a heavyset homosexual living with his partner, his toothless sister, and 31 chihuahuas. Rescue workers rushed to free as many victims as they could.
The rope secure? Rope secure. We're going to get you out of here. Just hold on a second, ma'am.
Wait, I think the next one is about monkeys.
Ready? Ready! Pull!
No, wait. Can I just see what happens with the feral cat?
In other parts of the country, rescue workers enlisted volunteers who had already seen the episodes to spoil them for the victims.
Oh, yeah, this one. This is about the lady living with the dogs in the trailer. She doesn't even get evicted in the end.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, the live Saturday edition of the program. Of course, you can join us here on the radio waves. You can bring up anything that happens to be on your mind on this Independence Day weekend edition. We do live days or live shows 7 days a week, so we'll be live on Independence Day, by the way. But some of our listeners on the weekends don't get our show during the week because radio stations don't always carry all 7 days a week of Free Talk Live. With you in studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
So welcome to this live edition of the Saturday show. We are here and here all weekend long, doing something new for the first time here tonight. We've been streaming video on Free Talk Live for a couple years now, a few years, several. I don't even remember how long it's been. We've been doing some live streaming for a while. We started with live stream and Ustream, and then we moved to YouTube. And today somebody suggested, hey, why don't you guys try Facebook live streaming? And, well, first of all, I hate Facebook, but I also love Facebook. I have a love-hate relationship with Facebook, and, I obviously love Facebook because I spend a lot of time on it. But at the same time, I hate myself for doing that, and I hate Facebook for being so addictive in that way.
So perhaps it's your lack of self-control that upsets you.
Well, that's a factor to all this. But Facebook as a product, I just generally don't like it. I think it's a poor system for communication in general. I think that
well, the idea is to provide you with news that's relevant to you.
Is that the idea?
And well, call it a
I'm
news
pretty sure
feed.
the idea is for Facebook to sell you to their advertisers.
Well, there's that.
Yeah, but which is fine. They got to make money somehow. Those servers probably aren't cheap to operate. To have what, 1 billion users or something like that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Got a lot of users. Facebook has sort of become the internet in a lot of ways in poorer countries. Facebook is offering internet service that isn't really true internet. It's just access to Facebook. Now, they are offering it cheap, and it's better than nothing for people who are very, very poor. So, Facebook's business practices are somewhat controversial. Of course, one of the most controversial is when you have a certain number of likes on a page or followers or whatever. When you put a post out there, and we're posting all the time over the Free Talk Live Facebook page, it doesn't reach all the people who've liked your page. So presumably somebody likes your page because they like the content that you put out, and they might want to see more of it. Well, Facebook basically throttles you back to, I don't know what percentage, but it's probably not much more than 1% of your given Facebook like total. So if we've got on our Facebook page, the Free Talk Live Facebook page, what about 80,000 likes?
90
now? Okay, so it's growing, which is great. But ultimately, when we post something, sometimes as few as 50 people will see that. Now, many times it's hundreds, but it's very rarely thousands. I mean, every now and then.
Rarely. Most of our posts get thousands
of
views.
Do they? Okay, I'm sorry. I don't pay close attention.
You're posting things like the video feed, the past video feed, and things like that. So I think that they just don't do as well on Facebook as news stories, memes, and the stuff that I'm posting throughout the day.
Well, what you're talking about there, though, Mark, is stuff that gets shared a lot on Facebook.
The interaction is what drives it up.
Memes, for instance, get shared more often than, or videos or whatever. But if we're posting an archive of the show, that doesn't get as many shares. So just the sort of the basic reach of a Facebook page is very, very weak. That's because Facebook wants you to pay them to promote your posts. They want you to give them, well, I don't know what it costs, but it's a lot of damn money to reach your full potential audience. And, well, we don't have the marketing budget for that kind of thing. And if we did, I sure as hell wouldn't want to give it to Facebook. So why are we streaming on Facebook? This is sort of a roundabout way of explaining that apparently what Facebook does is Facebook prefers Facebook. So when it comes to posting a video, if you post a video that's on Facebook, then they will promote that better.
Yeah.
It'll get more views just automatically. So if we post the same live video link, so like I said, we're still streaming on YouTube on our live stream channel there. But if we post the Facebook live stream instead of the YouTube live stream, all of a sudden people see it. People who otherwise wouldn't have see it. So welcome to everybody who's watching us and listening on Facebook. Maybe you've never actually watched the show live before. Maybe you didn't even know Free Talk Live was a radio show. Because sometimes you see a meme come up from Free Talk Live. You might have hit the like button because you saw a meme you liked, and you never really even looked to see what Free Talk Live was. So maybe we got new listeners tonight. If so, you're welcome to join us. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well. You can Skype into the show at Skype username LRN.FM. Since we're doing two video streams, we did cut the stream quality back from 720p to 480. So hopefully it's smooth. Hopefully it looks good. We'll hopefully get some feedback from some of our viewers online as the night goes on. But for those of you that are new to the show, yes, you can call in about anything that you want. Yes, we do bring things to the table to talk about, and it's appropriate that we are discussing Facebook because I've got a story here that I've actually been holding on to for a number of days, and we just haven't had a chance to get to it yet. It's about your smartphone or tablet, your device of preference, your choice.
What is it? More than 50% of Americans have one of these things now?
American adults, I believe it's more than 60% of American adults have it. If you factor in young people, I suspect that gets a little bit higher. If you only look at younger generations, I don't know what that number is, but I bet you it's 75%, if not more than that.
It's a pretty, relatively new phenomenon. The smartphone,
as of a decade,
the adoption of it. Well, the mass adoption of it. Smartphones. I had the smartphone. The old Trio made by I can't even remember.
BlackBerry.
Wasn't BlackBerry.
No.
It was Palm. Back in the day. But I wouldn't pay for the data account. I just wanted something to hold all my contacts. So, at some point or another, smartphones became the thing, and it's all touch screens. Very few of those buttons.
There's a story here from Psychology Today. Headline, are we all becoming Pavlov's dogs? Remember Pavlov's dogs, Mark?
Yeah, it's an experiment with he did experiments with pigeons and dogs.
You ring the bell and then they, would salivate because they've been trained.
The bell rings, they salivate.
Right, because they were trained that when the bell rings, food comes out. And so then they could ring the bell, and even if the food didn't come out, the dog would salivate, expecting the food would come out.
There was an association, right. Positive association.
Scenario number 1 here from the story, Larry Rosen, Ph.D., the author. Your smartphone buzzes. Without a moment's hesitation, you grab it out of your pocket and check the alert. Was it an email?
I don't.
A test? A Facebook notification? Or just a phantom vibration? Scenario 2. You looked at your phone a few minutes ago, but now you're standing in line at the market and grab it to check for messages even though your phone has not beeped, vibrated, or flashed. Because you never know, you might miss one.
He says, my phone's, I try to turn the notifications off. Yep. I don't care if I got an email. I get hundreds of emails a day.
I turn my email notifications off, too.
I don't care if I get a Facebook notification that somebody liked some post that we made on Free Talk Live's Facebook page.
I don't even have Facebook installed on my phone, so I don't get notifications from that. Emails, I turn off my main email address, but there's a special email that I have where I get, like, you're off the air notices for LRN.FM. So I get those. But besides that, I don't really get email notices on my phone. But that doesn't stop me from pulling out the phone at the market, as they're suggesting here, if I'm waiting in line or whatever.
If I'm bored, this is my boredom dispersal device, right? I'd sure. And if there's nothing on the phone, I'll play some little game while I wait. What's wrong with that? It's better than looking at the magazines on the side of at the supermarket there that are telling you all kinds of nonsense.
Scenario 3, you posted on Facebook a few minutes ago, and although you've not been notified of any responses, likes, or whatever, you tap the icon and scroll through the newest posts. You see your best friend from high school just posted a photo of her trip to Maui, and you smile when you become the first to like it. Scenario 4. Is this sounding familiar to some people out there listening? Scenario number 4. You are at dinner with a group of friends, and you've all agreed to put your phones on silent and stash them away. After the appetizer, you get up to go to the restroom, even though you really don't need to go. And upon opening the restroom door, you grab your phone and check the sports scores, your email, or whatever. Looking around, you notice that every other person in the restroom is doing the same. Presuming you can see every other person in the restroom, which isn't always the case.
Does that make me a bad person somehow?
What?
I understand.
Peeping on other people in the restroom or using your phone?
I'd be using my phone while we've agreed to turn them off. I've never been in an instance where people have said, hey, let's all turn our phones off.
I have been in one of those at a restaurant where we all put our phones in a stack in the center of the table, and then the rule is the first person who goes for their phone has to pay for the entire meal. I think that's a pretty good one. But is it a problem? Do you have a problem with these devices? Do they rule your life? We're going to talk more about this. You can share your stories, your experience. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can join us here. This is Free Talk Live's live Saturday show.
At Van Dyke Mortgage, we would like to thank our military veterans. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. For your service to our country, the Veterans Administration or VA loans are available for active, non-active, and retired veterans who meet the established requirements to assist in buying or refinancing a home loan. The most notable features and benefits for those who qualify are 100% financing, no monthly mortgage insurance, a variety of terms or loan types, reduced costs for disabled veterans, and no seller prepayment penalty. At Van Dyke Mortgage, we work hard to be your trusted mortgage advisor and can help analyze your personal situation and give you advice that matters. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com. That's VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
Hi, I'm Dr. Joel Wallach, veterinarian and naturopathic physician. The Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy with an important message. Take charge of your health. Do not continue to blindly follow the system that has failed us all. I appreciate GCN listeners because you're open-minded and intelligent. If our system is so great, why is it that the United States, the USA, ranks nearly 60th worldwide in longevity and number 1 in obesity? All the while we spend more money than all the other countries combined annually on unnecessary health care procedures and toxic drugs. It doesn't take much to get on track. Not with the government or pharmaceutical companies, but rather you in control of your own health with a basic understanding of nutrition and supplementation. FDI Longevity has the finest quality health, sports, and energy supplements available. GCN listeners are invited to join our team of people who want to stay healthy well into old age. We are currently looking for specialists to represent FDI Longevity and Save America. To buy products at wholesale prices or join our business team, go to GCNteam.com. That's GCNteam.com. Support GCN. Get healthy.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com. There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. coincap.io.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live, and you are invited to join us on the radio waves here. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Welcome to our new viewers on Facebook. We have, all of a sudden, just first time ever broadcasting on Facebook, we've got more viewers on Facebook than we do on YouTube. So the experiment is, it's proven the case that Facebook sort of sidelines the YouTube videos in favor of their own videos. So one guy said it's the first time he's listened to the show live in 9 years.
Wow.
Now, that just means that the dude never actually took the effort to listen to the show live in 9 years, but because it popped up on Facebook, it was easy to just click on it and watch it.
Wow.
Sometimes I hate Facebook so much. I love it. I don't know. But we're talking about a device addiction. Your addiction to, if you have this, and it's pretty common, to your smartphone, tablet, your device of choice. We're going to get back into that, the psychology of it here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. But another addiction for some people is sleeping.
Yeah. Well, while we're telling you not to be so sold on your smartphone, we want you to be more sold on, how your head and neck rest at night on your pillow. In many cases, people who don't have their heads parallel to the floor, essentially, their neck, their spine flat, they're going to have chronic headaches, neck pain, even back pain, and it can be solved all with the right pillow. If your pillows hold you in the right position, then you're going to be in pretty good shape. Now, I've recently tried MyPillow, and it's at mypillow.com, and it's great. Ian, you like yours?
I love it.
Now, one thing I can say about it that is special, because you can get a pillow that'll hold your head properly, but you're not going to find too many pillows that'll hold your head properly, and you can wash, because just imagine how many dust mites and all that stuff have gotten into your pillow. When was the last time your pillow got cleaned?
You really can't.
Yeah, if you've got a down pillow, never, and it came out of the goose's butt, if you've got one of those Tempur-Pedic type pillows or vinyl, whatever they are, you can't wash those things. This you can wash, and it pops back into shape, and you can shape it back for your head again. And don't worry, don't listen to me when I say that MyPillow at mypillow.com is great. They give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you can try it out yourself. Plus, the pillow itself is guaranteed for 10 years. And if you use our code FTL, you'll get another pillow for free. So it's a great deal. It's a great pillow. And
2 pillows for the price of 1.
Yep, 2 pillows for the price of 1. MyPillow.com, code FTL, 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year guarantee. MyPillow.com, code FTL.
All right, so we'll continue here. The story coming from PsychologyToday.com. And they give a few scenarios of common usage of smartphones, like in the bathroom, standing in the line at the the checkout at the grocery store, just constantly grabbing your phone out of your pocket or your purse to check it. A lot of people could probably they feel like this is familiar. For me, it certainly does. The author is Larry Rosen, Ph.D. He writes, I do a lot of people watching and have noticed that we now spend more time with our faces staring at our phone than we spend with our faces looking around at the world or looking directly at another person. In a recent study, my colleagues and I asked 216 undergraduate students to try an app called Instant Quantified Self that tallied the number of times an individual unlocked his or her phone during the day and how many minutes it remained unlocked. Strikingly, the average student, our participants were slightly older, averaging about 25 years old instead of the usual 20-year-old undergraduate sample, unlocked his or her phone roughly 60 times a day for about 4 minutes each time. In all, the phone was in use for 4 hours. And this doesn't count
That's
time.
a lot of your day.
Yep. And this doesn't count time spent on a laptop, tablet, or other electronic device. So what
I always, as a parent, my son is 8 years old.
Yep.
We limit screen time. And I think it is laughable when my wife and I are like, you got to get off that tablet while we're paging through our phones. I mean, it's just
do as I say, not as I do, son.
Yeah, and it just goes to show how much time we spend in front of computers. He's got to come downstairs, and he comes downstairs in the office and he looks at me staring at a computer screen most of the day. And
right.
Now, admittedly, what I'm doing doesn't seem very fun after a minute of looking, but nonetheless, it just kind of seems like this is what humans do to him, I'm sure. They just spend their time staring at screens.
Well, and it's becoming more and more common, and it's part of life. I mean, that's what I do for a living, basically. I mean, most everything that we do for Free Talk Live involves sitting in front of a computer screen, whether it's being on the air or whether it's contacting advertisers or contacting radio stations or working on the website or, I was processing amplifiers this afternoon. So it's nonstop, and then it's our life these days, and there are people out there
Don't
listening.
Forget the research, looking for show prep. That's what we do.
We can spend as much
time as we want. I look at a screen within 10 minutes of getting up.
Oh, yeah, I'm within a minute.
Usually that's the case for me, too. And within 10 minutes of going before I go to sleep.
Yeah, for sure.
Before I go lay down. Obviously brush your teeth and everything you do before you go to bed. But, within 10 minutes. So we spend all day on screens.
Well, it's one thing if it's your job. And then it's another thing when you're in like a social environment. So when you and I were in Long Island recently, Mark, we went to the Talkers Conference. There's a talk show seminar, if you will, or convention, I guess is the right word, for it that takes place on a yearly basis in New York. And it was in Long Island this time for the first time. It's usually been in Manhattan. So we're in Long Island. We go out. This gentleman who we work with took us out to dinner. And actually took us to 2 places, which was really unusual, fancy. But we went to this burger shack, Shake Shack, I think is what it was called. And we're in there, we're sitting down, we're having a conversation, and I'm observing the group of people that are sitting across from us. Because if you recall, we were at like a squarish, fairly large tabletop thing. So on the other side, there's probably a group of 6 folks, young people, maybe in their mid to late 20s, perhaps early 20s, but a range in their 20s.
You do love to people watch.
Well, you can't miss it. I mean, they're sitting right in front of you for the most part.
Yeah, but I don't remember these people at all, Ian, and I was at the same table.
Yeah, I made it. I definitely noticed that at one point, almost all of them were sitting on their smartphones, looking at their smartphones. They had gone out to dinner. Like the whole point of going out to dinner isn't necessarily to just eat a fancier hamburger. It's usually to have a conversation with the people that you're going out to dinner.
Oftentimes, hopefully. Having a wife and a family, sometimes you go out for dinner and you sort of wonder what to talk about sometimes when you spend all day together.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they weren't talking to each other on their phones. I'm not sure if that would be worse or better than them talking to other people when they could be talking to one another face to face. So I just noticed that, and that's something I bet servers see it all the time. People who work in the hospitality industry,
sure.
They probably observe this constantly. People just sitting on their phones rather than actually having a conversation.
I've certainly observed more than one server standing over in the corner looking
on
at their
phone. For sure, and that's why smart business owners are telling their employees you can't bring your phone into work. You can use it on break, but that's it. So what about this study, though? We'll get back into that here in moments. What were they doing on their phones? They found that these students, these undergrads, were using their phones for 4 hours a day. They checked it with an app that helped them measure that. What were they doing? We'll talk about that, and you can share your thoughts here on addiction to not just social media, but to these devices. 855-450-FREE. It's Free Talk Live.
The final phase of extermination is set to commence now. And as population die-off becomes evident, you know it is the time of punishment in all that is written. The cover for mass die-off is evolution and global warming frauds, also used as false proof of their Christ. They are from the lines that were disinherited 2,000 years ago. Now they claim to be his Christ based upon blood type, DNA, and long lifespan. Go to unveilingthem.com. That's UNVEILING them.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
This is your Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Thursday, gold is $18 higher at $1,340 per ounce, and silver is 58 cents higher at $19.35 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $675 US. Since January 1st, gold is up 20% and silver is up 39%. For more information, call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The listen lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. I know this sounds unbelievable, but at my house, we saved as much as 45% off of a new item on Amazon. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. Join us on the radio waves here, live Saturday edition of the program with you in studio tonight. It's Ian.
And Mark.
You know, there's no better app for tracking the value of your cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. It'll help you go back to your phone over and over again because you'll be wanting to watch the price of the cryptocurrency of your choice.
Funny thing, I was just watching CoinCap.
Were you really?
Yeah.
Did you know I was going to read this?
No,
next?
I had no idea. There
it is, CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking the value of Bitcoin, but I've never had one that can track 500 digital assets at once. Now, I don't have that many types of cryptocurrency, but if you do, you could follow all of them on CoinCap. Their best feature is the Altfolio, and you can enter in how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you happen to have, and it'll tell you what your crypto is worth in the, the fiat amount of your choice at that moment. So check it out at coincap.io. You can watch it online on any web browser at coincap.io, or go to the Apple Store or Google Play Store and get the app, coincap.io. Let's go to your phone calls and thoughts here. Riley is on the line in Utah on via Skype. Hey, Riley.
Hey, guys. So I wanted to talk a little bit about smartphone addiction.
Yeah, sure.
I actually saw this article on Sunday and shared it, and it's nice that you guys are talking about this because I seriously have the same problem. I do have a smartphone like a lot of other people, and
you're
I do have an
blind.
addiction to
I
it.
think for our listeners who don't know, you are blind, so you don't have the same. You would think that the reward isn't exactly the same, but perhaps it is. Perhaps that satiation, that momentary satiation of
really is.
New information, right? Is that what you're looking for, or so to
yeah,
speak?
pretty much. I mean, I'm looking for information, what's happening, new updates from other people. But even with sighted people and blind people, I think the reward punishment sort of motivation is the same.
Sure.
With smartphones, but I seriously do have an addiction to a smartphone. So, after reading this article, I really want to work my way to not have this addiction to a smartphone, so I can just maybe not ignore my phone, but get to the point where I just don't need to take it out every 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, I had a rule that I was trying to enforce on myself for a while, and it just hasn't worked out, where if there's a Facebook notification little indicator, for those of us who can see it, there's a little globe that lights up with a number next to it. And my rule was, all right, I'm not going to click that unless there's at least 5 notifications. For a little while, I had that. I was doing it, but I've since fallen off the wagon on that. So it really is a tough thing to get through. And,
it really is.
So you've been doing this for a while. How long have you had the smartphone?
I've had a smartphone. Gosh, I got my iPhone back in 2011, and it's been about 5 years or so.
Now, what's it like to be a deaf person, a blind person using a smartphone? Is there a screen reader that basically sort of rattles off what you're seeing? So
yes, there is. Apple does have one built into its operating system. It's called VoiceOver, and if you go into your settings under accessibility, it's there. So I have to do things a little differently. Like, for example, someone would just have to tap on an item on their smartphone and would just open up the item. Me, I have to double tap on the item, which is a little better because if a blind person's just tapping around the screen trying to figure out where something is and they accidentally open apps, it can be a little troublesome. So that helps a lot. There are definitely apps that are very accessible. Facebook is fairly accessible for the blind. Twitter is pretty accessible, so I use both. Cool. I don't use Instagram, obviously.
So what's it like when you have to double tap? Do you tap once to sort of identify what you've tapped on verbally, and then you tap it again?
Yes. I touch on a portion of the screen. It tells me what I'm touching. For example, if I were to touch Facebook, it would tell me it would say Facebook. Then it would either say how many notifications there are or say nothing if there are no new notifications.
You know, it'd be interesting for somebody that wants to kind of experience this, put on a blindfold, turn this app on, the accessibility app, and just see what that's like, because it's,
it would be definitely interesting. But for me, I actually speed up the voice on the app to about 80%. Normally, its default is like 30, so I have it pretty high speed because I like to listen to things at high speed.
Makes sense. And then you get the information quicker. You can make a quicker choice about what you need to do next. Very cool, Riley. Thanks for sharing that. Anything else you want to throw out there tonight about your experience?
Actually, there is. And I want to talk a little bit about how my experience as a liberty-minded individual has kind of helped me develop more of a self-esteem, because I've dealt with depression most of my life and had low self-esteem, but over the last couple of years, as I've become more liberty-minded, that has changed. I feel like, I have more self-confidence. I feel like I can accomplish more and be a better person. My depression is still there, but it's less and it's more manageable because I'm more liberty-oriented. I don't know if anyone else has ever experienced this, but it's been my experience.
I think what we mostly get feedback with is, now that I understand the ideas of liberty, which is that you don't use force or violence or theft or
aggressive
lies
force,
to get what you want. Now that I understand how these ideas relate to the world, that I can't really all the news stories make me upset. So usually people are just sort of upset by these ideas, and they at some point or another they feel like they have to turn it off. They have to unplug.
Well, they feel powerless.
Yeah.
To do anything about it, and I don't blame them, because it seems like things are hopeless. I mean, you got Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. I mean, most people realize that is not a real choice.
Right.
Of course,
they're just statists. It's hard to choose between two statists.
Well, thankfully, there are third parties to choose, but many of them are statist as well. And so it's a real depressing situation when you see the government just destroying people's lives, the police, murdering people, setting houses ablaze. It can be a real depressing thing. And I don't blame anybody for wanting to shut it all out and move out into the middle of the woods. But as was pointed out by Weta Claus, who was visiting Keene yesterday, longtime listeners will remember the name, great activist. Anyway, Weta Claus was here. He pointed out they can get you in the middle of the woods, too. They got him. They went after him for growing cannabis several years ago, and he was living out in the middle of nowhere in Grafton, New Hampshire. It didn't protect him from having a neighbor rat him out. And or at least allegedly, that's what happened. Hey, thanks for the call, Riley. Appreciate it. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Let's talk to John. He's in Virginia Beach, listening to WNIS. Hello, John. You're on Free Talk Live.
How do you do?
Hey, you're on the air.
I just wanted to applaud you for standing up for yourself and in the matter of free speech and taking the toll for it by being detained for a while. This was a conversation you had about a month or two ago. I was listening to you all. Do you remember that?
There's been a bunch of times when I've stood up for free speech and have been pounded by the government.
Where was the detention? What was it for?
I think it was – I'm not sure. I remember the main part, but I don't remember what it was for, but you were with a bunch of people, and then I don't know if it was a city. I guess it was a city.
I've done civil disobedience on multiple occasions. I've non-cooperated, have refused to obey when told what to do by men with guns. So there have been just a constant amount of occasions over the last decade where I've done these things. So I appreciate that. What I'd recommend you check out if you liked that discussion is Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. If you go to victimlesscrimespree.com, you can watch a feature-length documentary film that actually includes me going to jail. But it's not all about me. It's all about Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree, although I do have a minor supporting role.
I guess it's the 4th of July weekend coming up, and that's why I called. I do have a question. Yes, I don't mean to sandbag you with a compliment beforehand, but why don't you have a kind of a 4th of July theme to this?
Well, we actually started out talking a little bit about that it was Independence Day, and we can circle back around because, we can tie in this addiction to cell phones with independence. If you're addicted to your cell phone, are you truly independent? Thank you, John, for the call tonight. And certainly anybody that wants to discuss about Independence Day, I'm happy to do that. Obviously, we're going to be live on Independence Day and Independence Day Eve as well.
Yeah, but happy Secession Day.
Indeed. Our toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733, because even though it falls on the 4th of July, that's not what people are supposed to be celebrating, the fact that it is the 4th of July. It's the idea of independence, which is a much bigger concept. This is Free Talk Live.
If you're considering going back to school, ask yourself the following questions. Do you need the flexibility to take classes on your schedule? Do you have college credits you need transferred? Do you want to earn a quality degree from a world-renowned university? If you answered yes to any of these questions, Arizona State University is the perfect school for you. Arizona State University offers over 100 highly ranked degree programs 100% online. You'll earn the same degree as you would on campus, from wherever you are, on your schedule. Plus, ASU Online accepts most transfer credits. For information, call 1-800-958-5345. Learn for yourself why the Wall Street Journal ranks ASU 5th in the nation for producing the best qualified graduates, and why 90% of ASU grads are recruited within 90 days of graduation. Learn to grow, learn to succeed, and learn to thrive at Arizona State University. To learn more about ASU online degrees, call 1-800-958-5345. That's 1-800-958-5345.
Dangerous blood clot device alert. If you or a loved one had an IVC filter placed to prevent blood clots from traveling to your heart or lungs and suffered an injury, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. The FDA warns that IVC filters may cause serious complications, such as heart or lung damage, internal bleeding, and even death. These dangerous blood clot devices can break, and the metal fragments can travel to your heart or lungs, causing serious injuries. If you or a loved one suffered organ damage or other injuries from an IVC filter, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. This is an advertisement. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. InjuryHelpDesk.com is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit, did your nerves spike? You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
CopBlock has quickly become the top police accountability group in the United States, and maybe even the world. With chapters across the globe, there's probably a group near you that you can join. If not, you can start your own. Besides joining a local CopBlock group, you can also give just $1 a month to the CopBlock network. Your contribution helps support the efforts of those who make CopBlock possible. So please join the CopBlock network now at copblock.lrn.fm. That's copblock.lrn.fm.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Yes, it is Free Talk Live. You can join us here, the toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. With you tonight, you've got Ian.
And Mark.
We've got Skype as well. You can Skype in to join us at Skype username LRN.FM. Hey, if you are listening live on the radio, you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook. We just started doing Facebook live streaming tonight. I think we're probably going to continue it because it appears to be working out pretty well. So thanks to everyone who shared us on Facebook. Wherever it is you are, if you've got access to the internet, if you're driving, just hold off, wait till you get to where you can stop. But please go to share.lrn.fm or share.freetalklive.com. Either one works. And that'll take you to our Head Talker campaign, which is a website that allows sort of I'm sort of new at describing this, Mark. Sort of coordinated social network posting.
Yes,
essentially.
So basically, it allows access to your, Facebook or Twitter account or whatever, Instagram, those kind of things. But it only allows it for one post, one time. I understand the idea of allowing access to your account sounds like a terrible idea.
It turns a lot of people off.
It does. But there's these things are sort of they're becoming more popular. This has been done before. At this point, there hasn't been some kind of mass collection of data that we don't know about, and it just allows us to basically spread the word all at one time.
So we were looking to get 200 people, but it was going pretty slow, so I actually reduced the amount to 100, and we've actually hit that goal, so thank you to everybody who shared it. I'm actually curious to know, are we at 100 of 100, and what happens? It shows I'm here at share.lrn.fm, and that's what it shows me. What happens if someone tries to join after the goal is reached? I don't know. So hopefully people aren't being rejected if they're trying to be 101
that seems bad.
Or 102. Maybe I just happened to look at the time that it hit 100. So please drop by share.lrn.fm and share out our satellite fundraiser message. What's going to happen is at noon on Monday, so Independence Day, high noon Eastern Time, a message will be posted by this Head Talker campaign on your favorite social media sites, and that'll help, hopefully, promote our fundraiser for the satellite access that we have that promotes Free Talk Live and the dozens of other LRN.FM liberty-oriented shows across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa, and maybe, if we can raise enough money, Europe as well. So go to share.lrn.fm. As we continue, we've been talking about device addiction, people who are spending a lot of time on specifically their smartphones. The study here did not include tablets or laptops. It's a study of 216 undergraduate students reported on in Psychology Today, or psychologytoday.com. They installed an app, which sounds kind of interesting, called Instant Quantified Self, that actually tallies the number of times the phone's unlocked and how many minutes the phone was unlocked
Sounds
for.
like it was named by a scientist.
Basically, what they found out was that the average study participant, who was around 25 years old, used their phone about 60 times a day for around 4 minutes each time, which totaled up about 4 hours on the phone per day, which does not include any time they might have spent tapping away on a laptop or any other electronic device. So what were they doing on their phones? Well, mostly accessing social connections via text messaging, reading or posting on social media, dealing with email, or using some other app that involves connecting with another human being. Pavlov paired food with a bell, and we seem to be pairing our human connection with our phone. We may not salivate at each alert, but our brain is certainly responding. I've studied the psychology of technology since 1984 and can tell you that we did not become Pavlov's dogs overnight. Over the past decade or two, as smartphones went from business tools to ubiquity, we began to spend more and more time with our face pointed down at tiny screens. Rather than
it's not great for your neck either. It's not it's not good position for you.
Rather than oriented out to the world. You see it everywhere. A policeman directs traffic while periodically glancing at his phone. A gardener mows with his phone resting on the mower frame. A bank teller steals a glance
at his phone. How can you see it with it like vibrating?
I don't know. Maybe he's making that up. I suspect he's seen that happen.
I just mowed today, and it's got to take me 3 hours to do it, and I certainly didn't access my phone when I did it.
A bank teller steals a glance at his phone as one patron leaves and another approaches his station. 4 young adults at a restaurant mean 4 or more phones on the table and constant tapping. A family dinner table is similarly littered with devices. But this didn't happen as soon as smartphones entered our world. We slowly started using them more often and in more locations, and now, in 2016, our phones become our most prized possession. Most people use one all day and sleep with it beside them all night. In fact, my phone, I've got this alarm clock app that recently added a feature that will tell you somehow, it calculates how good of a sleep you had that night. Somehow the phone determines how often the phone was moved or vibrated or something like that, like if you're tossing or turning. The idea is you put it underneath your pillow.
Okay.
And then when you wake up, you turn your alarm off. It'll tell you, you got this sleep score last night. You know, how good at it that is, I don't know, but it really is an indicator we really live with these phones.
Yeah, well, there's this Fitbit thing. Have you heard of this, Ian?
Yeah, it's a little device that you walk around with, right?
Yeah, my wife's got one around her wrist, and it will tell her, how good her sleep was and that sort of thing. And it pairs up with the phone, and she gets information from that.
Oh, cool. I thought it was for walking. So it does other things?
It's a pedometer. It'll also tell you how many steps you go up, depending on which one you get. There's all kinds of them. Huh. It's amazing how expensive they are just to tell you how many steps you're taking in a given day.
What does one of these things cost?
Well, there's some that are from like $50 up to $250.
Okay.
So there you go. The first one that I got her for Christmas, she promptly took down diving and destroyed it. So we had to get another.
More than a few inches rarely separate us from our phone. The other day, two things happened to me that made me hyper aware of what has happened and is happening to me personally, as I myself too often face the world face down. First, I was walking across campus reading about something on my iPhone. I decided to take a shortcut across the lawn, and bam! I stepped in a puddle that submerged my shoes and the bottom few inches of my jeans in a combination of water, dirt, and fertilizer. The rest of the day, I smelled like a newly planted garden, and not in a good way. The second event involved me talking on the phone in the bedroom of my house, and then taking my phone and walking to my home office to talk to my fiancé. As we chatted, I realized that my phone wasn't in my pocket or in my hand. No problem. I must have left it in the bedroom. Nope. I looked all around the room and then to no avail, then asked my fiancé to dial my number, which did not ring, and eventually went to voicemail. At this point, I realized that my palms were sweating. My heart was beating a bit faster.
Good Lord.
I was getting nervous. After 15 frantic minutes, I discovered by accident that the phone had somehow fallen out of my pocket and lodged itself under the bed skirt, out of sight. It didn't ring because I hadn't taken it off the nighttime silence setting. I'm sorry.
I didn't have a bed skirt until I started living with a woman.
I'm sorry to report that these are all signs of an anxiety disorder. In study after study in our lab, we have examined the impact of anxiety as a means of explaining why you might choose to use your smartphone in a certain situation and how it disrupts your plans. Some of this is what is called generalized anxiety. We found that if you are someone who uses your phone much of the day and we take your phone away, you'll become anxious within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And your anxiety will continue to climb until we give you your phone back. We also studied a particular type of anxiety connected to a need to constantly check in, and a feeling of...
Well, this is interesting. So like Facebook has these things and other ways for sort of your friends and family to know where you are, right? Like you've stopped by this coffee shop, you've gone to this restaurant, you've gone to this store, whatever it might be.
Here I am,
checking in. You're checking in at this spot, and it's
me.
It's weird.
I've never done that on Facebook.
I haven't either. I think it's really great advertising for whatever business you're popping into, because obviously it brings that name up. It's like, oh, I'd like a cup of coffee, or whatever it is that people might think of. But I can't even imagine doing that.
So this is similar, this anxiety type that we're talking about, the checking in type. It's similar to the concept known as FOMO, the fear of missing out. And anybody that knows about sales knows about the fear of missing out. But it's not really a fear. Physiologically, it looks like a more heightened level of technological anxiety that continues to rise until you check in with whatever's making you feel that way, and will abate only to start the rise again and again. Anxiety isn't the only issue driving us to act like Pavlov's dogs. In our new book, The Distracted Mind, this is in our book, we're reading from psychologytoday.com, The Distracted Mind, Ancient Brains in a High-Tech World. Adam Gazzaley and I explore more issues that have led to our rapid task switching and our distracted minds, including poor metacognitive decision-making skills that lead our attention awry, and what we know what we now perceive as being bored.
Is that what you mean when you're just sort of not paying attention to what people are saying? That kind of decision making, like, you know, you just answer your wife and say some kind of noise.
Patronizing someone, you mean?
Yeah, well, it's not patronizing. You're just, just making noise.
Well, you're not listening to them.
You're not listening.
You're making it sound like you're paying attention to them in some way, shape, or form, but you're simply just grunting and acknowledging that they've spoken.
Yes. Well,
so it's kind of patronizing, isn't it?
I don't know.
Maybe patronizing is the wrong word for that?
I wouldn't think
855-453, 855-450-3733. Your addictions. So far, no one's really talking about it. It's Free Talk Live.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it! You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phone, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, July 2nd, 2016. Silver is trading at $19.78 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,342 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $679. Antiwar.com reports 4 high-ranking members of the Libyan Unity government have been announced to have resigned, according to a statement by the UN-backed Unity government. The 4 were identified as the Finance Minister, Justice Minister, Industry Minister, and Reconciliation Minister. Other reports indicated that the 4 were fired by the Unity government, though the indications were that none of the 4 had ever actually agreed to join the government in the first place and were part of the cabinet formed in Tunisia. The Tunis cabinet was formed at the behest of the United Nations and included figures from both the Tripoli and Tobruk parliaments, with an eye on convincing both parliaments to endorse the new government. Ultimately, neither parliament has. The 4 ministers identified on Friday were all from the eastern part of the country and associated with the Tobruk parliament, which itself is UN-backed, but which has repeatedly declined to endorse the unity government. The original UN plan was for the Tobruk parliament to become the de facto Libyan lower house of parliament under the unity government, with the Tripoli parliament serving as an advisory council. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports President Barack Obama signed a bill Thursday aimed at speeding up the government's response time to requests made under the Freedom of Information Act. With his own administration often criticized for failing to respond to FOIA requests quickly or fully, the president said the reform law will make it easier, faster, and cheaper for citizens to obtain government information under the 50-year-old law. Obama told reporters, Congress, on a bipartisan basis, has provided the tools to legislation to codify some of the reforms we've already made and to expand more of these reforms so government is more responsive. Adding, I am very proud of all the work we've done to try to make government more open and responsive, but I know that people haven't always been satisfied with the speed with which they're getting responses and requests. Hopefully, this is going to help and be an important initiative for us to continue on the reform path. The bill also makes it harder for government to withhold certain kinds of information that is more than 25 years old. Obama acknowledged that while arguments continue over what should and should not be released, federal agencies are struggling to keep up with the requests that are streaming in. The bill contains measures designed to speed the process and make it easier to file for your request. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerary supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports a federal judge has blocked a Mississippi law intended to allow people who object on religious grounds to refuse weddings and other services to lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people. U.S. District Judge Carlton Reeves, in a ruling late on Thursday, said that the wide-ranging law adopted this spring unconstitutionally allowed arbitrary discrimination against the LGBT community, unmarried people, and others who do not share such views. Reeves, who issued a preliminary injunction halting the law that was to take effect on Friday, wrote, the state has put its thumb on the scale to favor some religious beliefs over others. Mississippi is among a handful of southern U.S. states on the front lines of legal battles over equality, privacy, and religious freedom after the U.S. Supreme Court last year legalized same-sex marriage in all 50 states. Mississippi's Protecting Freedom of Conscience from Government Discrimination Act sought to shield those who believe that marriage involves a man and a woman and that sexual relations should occur within such marriages. The law also protected the belief that gender is defined by sex at birth. By citing those three religious grounds, the law would have allowed people to refuse to provide a wide range of services, from baking a wedding cake for a same-sex couple to counseling and fertility services. It also permitted dress code and bathroom restrictions to be imposed on transgender people. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
It's The Onion Radio News. General Motors reports record sales of its new disposable car. This is Doyle Redland reporting. General Motors has announced a 56% increase in earnings this year, attributing much of it to February's wildly successful launch of the GMC Whim, the first ever non-refillable disposable automobile. Debuting at a cost of $1,100 each, the vehicles are flying out of showrooms as quickly as dealers can stock them. Whim enthusiast Glenn Shriver.
I recently consumed 4 vehicles driving from my home to Daytona Beach for the first annual Whim Owners Convention. I've already collected all 8 colors.
Rival automakers are preparing to counter with their own lines of disposable cars, including the Ford Temporare and the Chrysler Dumper. The 2002 Mitsubishi Ditch will be unveiled later this year with a projected sticker price of $799. Doyle Redland for The Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can join us here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. It's appropriate that tonight we're talking about smartphone addiction, which in a lot of cases has to do with social networking. But that's not the only thing people do on their smartphones. It's funny that we're talking about that, and it happens to be the very first night that we happen to be live on Facebook. So, that's what we're discussing. It's Ian and Mark in the studio. Our toll-free number, if you want to join us here, is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. If you're new to the show, yes, you can call in about absolutely anything you want to discuss. We're going to go to your phone calls and thoughts. And then psychologytoday.com, which is where we were talking about the story where they actually did a study on some undergraduate students, looked at how often they're using their phones every single day. Turns out it's 4 hours a day. And the way they could actually study that and get the statistics on it was by installing an app called Instant Quantified Self that actually tracks how many times you unlock your phone and for how many minutes at a time the phone remains unlocked. So they have some specific suggestions as to how to beat smartphone addiction or at least reduce it. So we'll get into some of those here in moments. But first, to the phones, to the fun. Bob, listening in Fort Myers, Florida. You're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark.
Hey, Ian and Mark, how are you guys? Bob Garrett here.
Bobby Garrett, my radio mentor. I have missed you. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, and I'm very pleased to find you on Facebook Live. I haven't heard the show in a very long time, and I'm definitely addicted to my cell phone.
Yes? Okay.
I'm sitting on my cell phone watching the game. I got my son, who's almost 9, on the laptop in front of me. And I'm just bored flipping through Facebook, and you guys pop up live. I'm listening. I'm like, yes, I'm addicted to my cell phone. And but I don't mind it. I see it as the continuing evolution of human beings as we start to merge with the with androids, computers, robots. They'll be in charge someday. So I feel like I'm just doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Well, Mark, you've joked about this, that I think it was you said this, that we're the larva form of a robot race or something.
Yeah. I certainly didn't make that up.
Well, there's something to that.
Well, it's obvious, isn't it, that we're evolving into robots?
Some people are going to push back against that, but yeah, it does seem to be that
those people will die after about 75 years, so the rest of us don't care.
That's true.
I don't know.
You're talking about transhumanism.
Yeah, I don't want I don't know if anybody is going to be born with technology integrated into them already. I guess that's the only way to really achieve that. But we'll probably start being integrated sooner and sooner in life. And you see kids with, they love handhelds and that type of stuff. So anyway, it's a great topic.
I can't imagine there's going to, Bob, I can't imagine that we're not going to be at some point selecting, genes and deciding which sperm and which egg is the best one to create the most successful individual who's going to be tallest and have the best genetics and all that stuff. I mean, at some point or another, it seems like they're going to be doing that, right?
Well, it's a difficult topic to talk about.
It certainly is. It's all wrapped up in eugenics.
Yeah, I mean, historically, that hasn't worked out really well.
No. It's when you try to kill off the lesser ones that really things go poorly.
Yeah. I hate that they're, well, yes, and I do believe that individuals start making those types of choices for themselves as far as trying to engineer the perfect person. I mean, we've always, human beings have always, some human beings have always strived for perfection, to be godlike. We create gods, to be like them. And there's this ideal of perfection, I think, that people search for, and they want that. And they see their children, their product, as a symbol of their own greatness, as well, if they can make their kid as perfect as possible. Is there going to be money and technology to do it on a widespread basis where it's going to be the norm? I don't know. I think that's another coming thing is who is going to be allowed to take advantage of what coming health technologies are out there. I'm trying to put myself.
The people with the money.
Well, of course. Yes, and good insurance plans, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm trying to put myself at the front of some lines in the healthcare world, to make myself better. And it's it's something you have to do yourself. But in the meantime, I do spend a lot of time addicted to my cell phone. So how is the show going, guys?
We're here every night, 7 nights a week. We're live on the internet, live on 170 radio stations from coast to coast at various times throughout the week.
I can tell you this: Clear Channel's going bankrupt. Free Talk Live is in the black.
Well, you guys don't have billions and billions of bonds out there.
Yeah, that's the truth. Exactly.
You didn't sell your souls 20 years ago.
Nope, I sure didn't.
you're good.
Always good to hear from you, Bobby. Thanks for the call tonight, brother.
Hey, you guys take care, and I'll be watching on Facebook more often.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for the call. Toll-free number tonight for you to join us here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. That was my mentor in radio, Bob Garrett, when I started as a teenage intern in Sarasota, Florida at what was then, was it Clear Channel or New Wave Broadcasting?
No, I thought it was J-Core.
Oh, yeah, J-Core. That's what it was. All these radio companies get gobbled up and eaten.
They're owned by Clear Channel now.
Well, Clear Channel is now called iHeartMedia.
That's true.
How many people know that? I don't know. But anyway, started out with Bobby Garrett doing a rock radio show on his afternoon drive show, and I was his intern, and of course was driving the station van around and setting up remote broadcasts and things like that. So it's always fun to get a blast from the past. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. We've got Skype. The Skype username is LRN.FM. Coming up, some suggestions from Psychology Today as to how to break yourself. Now, Bob he was saying he's embracing his device usage. He's embracing his robot overlords, and so it feels natural. It feels like this is what he's supposed to be doing. Well, and I can understand that. But there's another argument out there that you're missing out, right? Like that if you've always got your nose down in some device, you're not going to see the sunset.
That's the reason they did Google Glass, was so that you could put the screen right there in front of your face.
How's that worked out?
For whatever reason, Google Glass seemed to have been a flop.
Well, Google can't make everything work. They've had a lot of flops.
I really liked the idea. It was just too high priced for me. Well,
of course. I mean, everything that comes out brand new is going to be high priced. I mean, right now you probably have in your living room a 50-inch flat screen television.
Sure.
When those things came out a decade and a half or whatever ago, they were $20,000, $50,000. You probably paid no more than $1,000 for it.
$500.
Yeah, $500. So that's what happens. It takes a few generations of things to bring the prices down to mass supply, if you will.
Sure, I'm aware of that. Yeah. I'm just saying it didn't. Google Glass didn't quite make it.
It didn't take off
to the point that was a consumer level pricing.
But that's not to say that heads-up displays are out. I mean, we've got virtual reality that's becoming a thing now. Yeah. There's also mixed reality, which
that's what it's going to have to go to. It seems like where it's it's the real world, but it has sort of this overlay. That's probably more interesting in somehow.
Yep, that's true.
Because people are going to want to wear their, at some point they'll be playing their games. I don't know, hopefully out in the park or something. They're running around and swatting dragons or whatever it is that they're doing. But
remember laser tag?
Yeah.
I mean, it still exists, but augmented reality or mixed reality, where you're mixing your vision and the actual things that you see in the world with some sort of computer game overlaid on top of it, would make laser tag a real possibility. You could just have a throwdown game anywhere you wanted to.
Couldn't you? With the old equipment, you could do that anyway. I remember the laser tag equipment we used to sell the comic book store I would work in, and all you basically had to do was avoid getting the gun hit. Like everything was in the gun.
Right.
So if the gun shot the other gun, then you're in good shape.
Yeah,
so
it's cheap.
I mean, it's better to have it on your chest. That way you actually have to duck in and out and that sort of thing. But you could have had a game anywhere doing that. You just wear the little chest receiver and you run around.
So, things are changing, that's for sure. You can share your thoughts with us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. We've got Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. So coming up, some suggestions as to how to, wean yourself away from the constant addiction of the cell phone. Because I still do enjoy a sunset when I can get outside and it's not, it's my one night off a week. I enjoy sunset. And it sucks to just be distracted by Facebook, which you can always go on anytime you want. So what are you missing out on? It's Free Talk Live.
All right, listen up, because this is the most important thing you're going to hear all day. What if I said you could make money flipping houses without any cash, credit, or manual labor? And what if I said you could do it part-time from the comfort of your home? Sound unflippin' believable? Hi, I'm Preston Neely, and I'm going to prove it by sending you a free copy of my smash hit selling book, How to Get Rich in Real Estate. It sells online for $19.95, but I'm giving away free copies this week. To get one before they're gone, call 1-800-960-4295. I used to be so broke, I had my electricity shut off 9 times, but I figured out a simple way to make money flipping houses without even breaking a sweat. Now I'm living the good life, and so should you. Listen, if you're sick and tired of stressing about money, this book could change your life. Hands down, it's the fastest, easiest way to get started in real estate. Let me prove it. Call right now to find out how to get your free book. When they're gone, they're gone. Call 1-800-960-4295. 1-800-960-4295.
Guys, are you tired of being tired? Frustrated because it seems impossible to lose belly fat? If you're looking for a solution, then listen to Mark.
I had fantastic results with the Andro 400 Max. Probably lost 35 pounds, and more impressive than that was the inches I lost off of my belly and my waist. And the increased energy is fantastic. I'll be totally honest, I tried a different product, and I wasn't happy with the different product. You guys are considerably cheaper than the other brand, and I can really feel the difference.
Andro 400 Max, the extra strength, all natural testosterone booster. The safe, easy, and affordable way to gain energy and lose stubborn belly fat. Satisfaction guaranteed or your money back. Feel and look like a new man. Go to andro400.com or call 888-400-0435. 888-400-0435.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, in your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Toll House Refrigerated Cookie Dough. Who would you bake some love for? Find fun and easy baking ideas at tollhouse.com. Kids love doing arts and crafts projects, especially when you join in. Try channeling all that artistic energy into the kitchen and bake up some creative treats together. Think of your art supplies as the frosting, sprinkles, and decorating gels, and use cookies or cupcakes as your canvas. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves. Are you addicted to your smartphone? Go ahead. Admit it. There's a good chance that you are. Now, what percentage of people that use smartphones that become addicted to them, I don't know. So I don't know what the odds are that you'll be addicted, but I feel like it's pretty good because I myself am addicted.
Well, I think that the term addicted is tossed around quite a bit.
Yeah.
And it's a continuum. Humans are addicted to things that we like, right?
Sure.
We tend to do things we like. Now, the question is can you stop? And if you can't, then I think that you're falling into that realm of addicted.
Well, that's what they were talking about here in the story from psychologytoday.com, is that there's an anxiety factor. If you they've done studies, you take a phone away from somebody and they start to get anxious after no more than 10 minutes, and then proceedingly more so over time.
Well, I have a phone. I don't get anxious when I don't have it. I do like life better.
Have you come back here some nights to pick your phone up after you've left it here?
Yeah, because I can't spend my whole day without it.
Okay.
People can't text me, and
so it's important to you. You can't just leave it somewhere.
It's a communication device. I do business.
Yes. Okay, that's a good excuse.
It's not
There's
an excuse.
There's always a good
son.
excuse for your addictions.
No. It's ridiculous.
Denial is the most common human response, Mark. So the toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. We've got Skype, by the way. Skype username is LRN.FM. Something you can easily get addicted to is cryptocurrency. Bitcoin, Ether, there's hundreds of others. But Bitcoin and Ether are the number 1 and number 2 cryptocurrencies in the world right now. And there's only one wallet that I've ever heard of that actually allows you to access both of them, plus DAO tokens. You can go get your Jax wallet at jaxx.io. It just hit the market a little while back. It actually was in beta for a while, and now it is no longer in beta. You can go grab it for free over at Google or Apple's App Store, or just go to jax.io and grab it for your favorite browser like Google Chrome or perhaps Firefox. There's also Linux, Mac, and Windows installers. So Jax is a cross-platform cryptocurrency wallet. Very, very handy, and it's easy to back up and recover your funds if need be. So if you lose that phone, don't worry, you didn't lose your Bitcoin. Just reinstall Jax on some other device, go through the backup or the recovery process. Very, very simple. It's control of your life in the palm of your hand, because they're planning on expanding to give you control over coins, currencies, contracts, identity, and more. So check out Jax, jaxx.io. To the phones, to the fun. We go to John. He's in Virginia, listening to WNIS. Hey, John.
Hey, how are you guys? Great show tonight.
Thanks. Go ahead.
Hey, I just want to tell you, I work at a local amusement park, and this cell phone thing is getting crazier than I've ever seen it.
All right.
I mean, there are literally people running into each other because they're on their smartphone. And there's whole groups of families just like they'll be seated eating, and they're not talking to each other.
Now, that's not anything new, right? I mean, I remember growing up, your dad asked you, well, how was school today, son? And, you don't really want to answer them. Yeah, fine. That happened when you were growing up, too, right, Mark?
I can't get my son to talk about it.
So I don't know if that's very new, families not talking. This just gives them one more reason to not talk.
Gives them something to do while they don't talk.
Yeah, there's something, right. So you're seeing it a lot. You're seeing it all over the amusement parks. And has it become more prolific just within the last year, 2 years? When did you really start to notice?
Yeah. Well, I was listening to your show. It just hit a chord in me, and I thought, wow, this is getting worse. I mean, you will literally see people running into each other. They are so absorbed in their phone that they'll trip over stuff. They'll run into each other. I know you were talking about earlier. You snipped in a hole or something.
Well, that wasn't me, but that was the author of the article. We were.
I saw there's a pretty famous viral video out there of some gal who's walking along in a mall and falls into a fountain on her phone. And I mean, she probably barked her shin pretty nasty on that marble when she fell in.
Better than getting hit by a car, I suppose.
It certainly is. And now that I believe in Denmark, they're putting walk, don't walk stuff in the sidewalk so that people don't have to bring their heads up from their phones to look forward. And of course, there's laws against people touching your phone while you're in your car.
John, thanks for the feedback tonight, man. I really appreciate hearing from you.
Yeah.
The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Psychology Today does have some suggestions that might help wean you off your addiction to your smartphone, but we'll first continue with your calls and thoughts. Matthew, listening in Grand Rapids to WTKG. Hello, Matthew.
Hi. So you guys were talking about the anxiety when people lose their phones?
Yeah.
And I think another part of that just might be because of how much people use their cell phones and what else they use them for. So, the one time I lost my phone, I freaked out, not because, oh my gosh, I can't check Facebook and everything on the go, but because I've got credit card information stored in there,
wait a minute. Are you one of those people who doesn't actually have a passcode on your phone?
Well, I do, but, I mean, I'm sure that would be able to get bypassed by somebody.
Well, it's better than not having one. There are plenty of people who just have the swipe left or right or whatever and just opens the phone right up. No passcode whatsoever. You want to get into somebody's email account, which then gives you access to absolutely everything that they've ever registered for on the internet? Just grab their phone and, there you go. But if there's a 4-digit code, at the very least, there are several combinations someone would have to try before they could crack that. The more digits you increase that code, the more difficult it gets to crack it. Of course, if things are unencrypted on your SD card, then they can just pop the SD card out and go through that.
Yeah. Plus, I've got pictures and stuff from vacations from a couple of years ago that I don't have necessarily on my computer hard drive, so. I think that might be a little bit of the anxiety that people feel, but definitely
for sure.
A lot of people are. And also, I've noticed people are getting cell phones earlier and earlier. Like, I have like a 6 or 7 year old niece or a cousin that has a smartphone, and I'm like, I don't even understand if you know how to use that.
Well,
6 years old? Absolutely.
They know how to play Fruit Ninja. Let me ask you this. What do you think the right age, because I think that this is difficult for parents, what's the right age for a kid to get a smartphone or a phone or whatever? Because they've got phones out there that are designed for kids, but it can be difficult. They're basically, the regular cell phone carriers don't have those phones, so you end up buying them something, and then pretty soon they're texting all over the place and driving up your minutes, and it ends up to be cheaper to get them a regular phone at some point. So
if I was to have any kids, I would not allow them to have one, or at least I wouldn't pay for them prior to them being 16 or so, because I think that
drive them up the wall.
Yeah.
Well, it would, but I know myself, like. Just thinking about myself, if I had, access to this technology at such a young age, I would have had no social interaction because I'd have no reason to, go over to my buddy's house or anything growing up.
But isn't that the way young people socialize now, is on their phones? They don't even want to call each other. We've done stories about millennials. They are super less likely than everyone else in the world, every other generation, to actually make a phone call to people, because they're so used to texting. In fact, they get uncomfortable if they have to make a phone call. Hey, Matthew, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it. So that would drive a teenager up the wall if they were prevented from actually interacting with their friends. It'll make your kid hate you if you do that. What time should they get a phone? I don't know. You can get them a tablet early, and then they can't make calls, but they can still play all the games and do techie things without running up your phone bill. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, and we'll find out when your son got his first tablet.
Worried about lead, fluoride, and other contaminants in your drinking water? Get a ProPure with the Pro 1G 2.0 cleanable reusable filter and remove up to 200 contaminants. Drink water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure products, including the new ProMax shower filter. There's a ProPure for you. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Are you a political activist who does things that the government might not like? Then this free ebook may save your life. Rats is your guide to protecting yourself against snitches, informers, informants, agents provocateur, narcs, finks, and similar vermin. Rats was written by OG libertarian Claire Wolfe. Rats is a short book, easy to read, and available free in many formats. Download Rats free at rats-nosnitch.com. That's rats-nosnitch.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Feens radio show. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgoristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agorist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agorist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any tomfoolery. So go with AgoristHosting.com. And if you want to get your foot in the door with decentralized marketplaces, Agorist Hosting is now offering Open Bazaar hosting. Go to agoristhosting.com, click on the button that says Get Hosted. Agorist Hosting, that's AGORIST, hosting.com.
Listen to LRN.FM on any phone, anytime. 641-552-5046. That's 641-552-5046.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us toll-free here. We're talking about addiction to smartphones. The toll-free number 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well. Skype username is LRN.FM. You know, when you're online, be sure you check out the Shire Society at shiresociety.com. You can sign the Shire Society Declaration. You can plan your move to New Hampshire if you love liberty, if you understand what freedom is really all about. And that is that you should be free to live your life so long as you don't harm anybody else in the process. The non-aggression principle is what a lot of us liberty-minded folks believe in, and that is pretty much leave everybody else alone. You can learn more about the Shire Society at shiresociety.com. And again, sign the Shire Society Declaration and move up here to New Hampshire where you can be around other libertarians, other voluntarists, other people who really care about liberty and who are willing to actually do something about it. So, we're talking about addiction to devices. The story coming from psychologytoday.com. Mark, you saw a comment fly by on the first Facebook video. We're streaming live on Facebook for the first time ever tonight, which means we have to actually restart the stream because Facebook has a 90-minute limit on the live streams. We do a 3-hour show. So we've already started. We're in our second hour here, and so this was from the first hour. Somebody commented, and you wanted to share that.
Yeah, his name's Matthew. Says, I was able to get over my phone a few years ago when mine broke. I couldn't replace it for a few months. And,
oh, wow.
But I've had a new one, but I leave it in my room or at home all the time when I go to work. And I honestly, it feels good to see others with their nose deep in their phones, and you know that you're able to get away from it when you want to.
So he beat his addiction by going cold turkey, not because he chose one of those situations. Okay.
Well,
that's good to know.
It's one of the good ways to do it.
I can live without the phone, but ultimately I have to be connected to something. I've got to have a laptop. I've got to have something to do things with on the internet.
That's the difficulty, right? Like these tools are made to make us more efficient, and they're successful.
But are they? Because if you're spending your time on Facebook, you're not actually doing things that are productive for the most part. You're just scrolling or scrolling and scrolling.
It's more efficient to be able to do whatever your job is from a remote location.
That's true.
So
I can log into my computer here from my phone if I need to. Like if LRN.FM goes off the air, I can. Wherever I am, as long as I've got an internet connection, I can go in there remotely and fix something.
Right,
which I could never have done with the old flip phone.
That's a sort of efficiency.
So I'll give you that, Mark. There's no doubt. I mean, if these things weren't helpful, we wouldn't be using them.
Exactly.
Right? But there's also a dark side.
It's not like everybody's carrying around Game Boys here. It's just that they have,
they have that potential. You can play video games on these things.
You can.
All day long.
People do play video games, but they don't play all day long.
I don't play video games on my phone. This is one of the things I don't do with the phone generally is because I don't want to waste my battery, essentially. I want to have battery in case I need it to stream video of the cops doing something they're not supposed to be doing.
You're always out looking for a good video.
I'm not always out looking for a good video, but you never know what's going to happen. The other day, one of our Liberty folks in the area got pulled over, and I was able to respond. In that case, I happen to have an actual video camera on me. But if you've got your phone on you, you have a video camera. But if all you got's 5% because you've been scrolling through Facebook or playing video games on it, you're not going to be able to record whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
So I don't do video gaming unless I'm like plugged in somewhere and have absolutely nothing else to do, because there's always a bunch of emails I'm behind on. There's always something more productive feeling that I can do than get on video games. But let's get to some suggestions here. Oh, you had the quote. We didn't get.
Yeah, I was done with it.
Oh, you're done with it. Okay, good. So let's get to some of the suggestions from psychologytoday.com. Number 1, try to slowly wean yourself off the need to respond automatically to alerts and notifications, particularly while you're working on any task that requires concentration and attention. If you're working with a computer, shut down all programs and browser tabs that you are not going to use for your work. And I do mean shut them down.
Yeah, so I write, among other things, I've got to write commercials and do creative things. There's times when, blog posts, that kind of thing, there's times when I've got to have concentration. And these notifications that you get, they're killers, because you can't get what you had before. If you're trying to type out as fast as you can whatever's in your brain and something pops up, that stuff's gone and it's not coming back. So
for sure.
I also recommend get rid of those stinking notifications, those pop-up zzz, bzz, zzz. If you want to check on something, check on it, but don't have it check on you.
Good advice. And by the way, I know I said I was going to ask you, when was it that your son, Jack, who is how old now?
He's 8.
8. When did he get his first tablet? Because I know I've seen him playing games on a tablet at some point.
I guess a couple of years ago. I know it was at Christmas time because his Muffy got...
So 6.
6. Thereabouts. Probably before his 7th birthday. I know his Muffy got an Amazon Fire when they had a big deal on them and got 2 instead of 1, and gave 1 to him. And he's, now we have to limit the Kindle time in order to, show him that you just can't spend all day, because he will spend all day.
John is on the line in Albuquerque. More tips on breaking the addiction to smartphones. John, you're listening to Kiva. Go ahead, sir.
Well, I just wanted to make a comment. I think that, we're never going to really break away from them per se. I think they're always going to be a part of us. I will say that one of the biggest concerns I notice, I train people to work with individuals who have disabilities. And so I train staff, communication, behavior, health, stuff like that. And we get a lot of employees under the age of 25 that come in and do these trainings. And I gotta be honest with you. The thing I'm really concerned about is the ability to socialize with actual human beings among that generation. I think that it's wonderful what phones can do, and like you said, they're mobile and you can do work, but I got to admit, I think part of the problem with the addiction is the ability to effectively and comfortably communicate with an actual human being. And I see that especially with millennials, that they just seem to not, I don't know, it maybe I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it.
No, not at all. It's like I was saying before, there have been studies that have shown that millennials do not want to call someone on the phone. They would much rather text. And, the difference between phone and text is you suck all the voice right out of it, right? You don't have the inflection, the human sound there. It's just text on a screen. You've reduced a human being to, however many characters there are.
I can't tell you how many voicemails, messages I get now that are, don't leave me a voicemail message. I don't listen to them. Send me a text.
It seems like text. It seems like text. I mean, what's odd about that is that in terms of time, it seems like you actually have a conversation. It's exactly. So if we're all about go, 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 and I need to go to the next thing, then why in the heck are you spending 30 minutes to have a conversation when you can do it in 5?
It's about that difficulty connecting with people, I think. I think you're absolutely onto something there, John. Thanks for sharing your thoughts tonight. I appreciate it. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. I mean, depending on the circumstance, it may be easier to send a text if you're in the middle of some sort of presentation, which, of course, you should be paying attention to. But if you have something that's urgent, you need to send some sort of information out, a text is the way to do that without having to leave the room. But I think in many occasions, people are, younger people especially, choosing texting over voice, and it isn't as efficient. I understand they're fast with their fingers and everything, and they can type quickly.
They also can sit in the room, sullen and staring at their phone with their parents and communicate with their friends, and that's pretty nice, right? They don't have to, wander off to get privacy or whatever.
That's true.
They can't be eavesdropped on. And
like back in the old days, they were in their room with their phone, and mom could pick up the extension.
Yeah.
Around the other end of the house. Can't do that anymore. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. But, of course, the parents that are super paranoid about their kids have, I'm sure there's spy apps or whatever, or they'll demand their kids give them access to their phone. So I'm sure that those parents have figured out ways around that. Although there's another argument there. Should you be giving your kids privacy when it comes to their electronic devices? It's a whole other issue. If you want to comment on that, 855-450-FREE.
I have 2 cats and 2 dogs. All 4 of them are on the Dynavite. This stuff is amazing. The first day that I gave Sweet Pea and Daisy the Dynavite for cats, I did add a little bit of the Licka Chops, and they absolutely loved it. All the vitamins, the minerals, they also enjoyed the Num-Nums, the Nub-Nubs or whatever they're called, the treats that also came along with it.
DINOVITE.com. 859-428-1000.
They're just running through the house. They're playing. My Sweet Pea will walk in front of me. She'll stop where she's at, drop, and roll onto her back, and then expect me to rub her belly, just like a kitten. Daisy and Sweet Pea have a cat tree in my living room, and lately she's been climbing up to the top, jumping up there, and then she'll climb back down, and then she's right back up again. Oh, I'm sorry. I wish they would make a product for us humans to give us the same amount of energy and spunk that Dynavite for cats are given for my cats. The phone number is 859-428-1000.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-403-4885. That's 1-800-403-4885. 1-800-403-4885. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop. You save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Recently, LRN.FM kicked off its 2016 satellite fundraiser. This year, we're hoping to expand our international free-to-air satellite coverage to include Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa. Our current satellite coverage includes North America, Central America, and Sub-Saharan Africa. This year, the Indiegogo-based fundraiser is going to be promoted via a Head Talker. It's a website that allows you to sign up to join in a social media blast to promote something. Sign up now at share.lrn.fm via your preferred social media, and then on Independence Day, July 4th, the head talker will post to your social media accounts about our fundraiser. We've set a goal of 200 people. Will you be one of them? Now, of course, you can go donate to the fundraiser right now at fund.lrn.fm. But even if you can't afford to help, you can definitely add your social media reach to the head talker. So please do. Go to share.lrn.fm. That's share.lrn.fm.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's post pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
This is your Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Thursday, gold is $18 higher at $1,340 per ounce, and silver is 58 cents higher at $19.35 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $675. Since January 1st, gold is up 20% and silver is up 39%. For more information, call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Join us on the radio here. Live Saturday edition. We're here, Independence Day weekend. We'll talk to you about whatever's on your mind, but the main topic tonight is smartphone addiction, something that is plaguing all generations of people who are using them, but certainly more so younger generations. We have ended up talking about texting versus talking on the phone. Millennials seem to hate talking on the phone. There are probably exceptions to that rule.
Certainly generalizations.
These are obviously generalizations. But they're generalizations for a reason, because the numbers reflect it. Millennials do not want to talk on the phone for the most part if they can avoid it. And so what about, other what are some suggestions? Psychology Today has some. They'll share with us. What are some suggestions to lessen your reliance, your addiction to these devices? We'll get into more of those here in moments. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. If you like Free Talk Live and you appreciate the work we're doing, then please shop with us. Go to shop.freetalklive.com. You can enter the links you'll find to Amazon there. There's Amazon Canada, Amazon UK, Amazon US. You just go into the right Amazon for you and get your shopping taken care of. Free Talk Live gets a cut of the sale when you do that at shop.freetalklive.com. Let's go to Charlie, listening in Indianapolis to WIBC. Go ahead, Charlie. You're on the air.
I'd like to talk about two situations where I find texting far more effective and more efficient. And I'm 73 years old. I'm not a teenager or a millennial.
All right.
Can I talk about it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. When you make a phone call, you have to use time for the pleasantries. Hello, how are you? And when you're hanging up, hello, I'm a goodbye, see you again, hope you have a good day. But when you're texting, you just send the meat of the message. You don't have to spend extra time with the pleasantries.
Cut the crap.
That's one thing,
so to speak.
Yep.
Yeah, it's nice if people acknowledge when you've sent that, that message, so that you know that they've gotten it. For instance, sometimes it can be a little disconcerting.
Yeah. No, my friends know that when I send them a message, they need to respond okay or something, because I'll wonder if they got it. So They know that. The other thing is, there are people that I'd rather not talk to, but I need to get them a message. Okay, so in those situations, I find texting more polite. Sometimes when it's somebody I really don't want to talk to, I think my tone of voice shows it, and it causes problems.
So don't they try to call you sometimes, and don't they get a little put out when you don't answer the phone and you just kind of text them?
No. I love talking on the telephone. I do, and they know, people call me, and we're on the phone a lot. I use up a lot of minutes, and that's why I'm glad I have unlimited. But there are times when I find texting, you were talking about efficient. And so there are times that I find it far more efficient.
I think you've given a couple of great examples, and you're clearly a strategic texter. Thank you, Charlie, for the call tonight. Appreciate the example. And in his 70s, texting as well. Very interesting. So, yeah, there's some times where texting is preferable. Although I can tell you, as far as the pleasantries that he was talking about, sometimes I'll encounter someone online. It doesn't happen often. I think for the most part, he's absolutely right that in text, people tend to cut to the chase, generally. But there was a guy who would send me messages on Facebook in the past who lived here in New Hampshire, lives here in New Hampshire. And he would always start out with like, "Hi, how are you?"
Yeah, I hate that.
And eventually I just ended up telling him, "Hey, look, dude, every time you send me a message, it's because you want something from me. So why don't you just cut to it? I'd appreciate it if you would save us both the time of cutting out the pleasantries. You don't need to ask how I am every single time that, you send me a text message."
I understand why people, are taught to do that. That's it's sort of good manners. But as far as texting and IMs and things like that go,
it's just a waste.
It's a little bit in the way. I agree with you.
And it's like we also don't know each other very well either. So really, do you really care how I'm doing? Probably not.
I stubbed my toe. Ouch. And I meant to tell you this. It just doesn't make any sense. But when they're kind of ragging on millennials here, and it's everybody's favorite generation to rag on at this point.
Well, isn't it always the youngest generation?
It used to be Gen X. Yeah. I'm not sure that whoever Gen Z at this point is.
You mean what's coming after millennials?
Whatever's coming after millennials. I'm not sure. That's what my son is, I think.
So that would be people born after the year 2000 or something like that?
I'd have to look up the numbers.
Isn't a generation generally like 20-ish years or something?
Some number like that. I find them to be also, I find these numbers to be relatively useless.
And only arbitrary.
Well, okay, so I have more in common with somebody who was born in, within 5 years on either side of me.
Correct.
Than I do, with somebody. I can't tell you who the Gen Xers are, but if
Gen
that's
X
20
generally
years,
ends around early 80s, right? 80 or so.
Yeah, so I'm in the middle of it.
I'm in the end of it.
Right, you're in the end of it. You're 10 years younger than I am. So somebody 10 years older than me is a Gen Xer also. Mm-hmm. What do they have in common with you? What does a 53-year-old have in common with you, a 37-year-old, whatever you are? Not much. Flippin' much.
We're humans,
and that's why. Right,
got a lot in common.
But that's why I don't like generations. And I believe this shorthand for people who are different than me suck is what these generation titles are. Okay, if you want to talk about which Saturday morning cartoons I watched, we can have a really great conversation about that. Somebody who's my age, you and I can't as much.
No, because we don't have much crossover there.
Right. I was out wanting to do all kinds of different things when you were watching Saturday morning cartoons. Right. I was sleeping in from partying the night before.
Yeah.
So
you probably thought Transformers were really dorky or something like that.
I did see some Transformers. I always thought the animation could be better, but I can.
It wasn't that great.
Yeah, I have some understanding of what
the animation in the Transformers movie, the original one in 1986, was very good, but they had a bigger budget.
Indeed, they did. So what I'm hearing here to some extent is millennial bashing. I'm no fan of millennials any more than anybody else.
I don't think I've bashed a millennial.
You haven't, but I'm hearing the article. The old people that write these articles tend to like their opportunities to go after millennials.
This guy admits he's addicted to his phone.
Yes.
The author of the article admitted he, was walking down the campus, stepped in a puddle.
Millennials are going to be different than people who are younger people are growing in a different world than I grew up in. One friend of mine, when I was in high school's father had a cell phone. My mother had one too. She worked for the phone company. I knew of two people that had cell phones when I was in high school.
Was it one of those car phone things with a big brick?
My mother had a briefcase that she carried around because she was an engineer for the General Telephone and Electronics. She worked for the phone company. They gave her one.
My dad had one of those brick cell phones in the 1990s.
Right. So, these are the only people I knew that had them. I grew up in a different world when we didn't blog everything and put it all up on Facebook and that kind of thing. The closest thing we had to really make big mistakes with were Polaroid cameras. And, so it was a different world. The idea that I can look down my nose at people now, I don't.
Hold that thought, Mark. Let's talk to Carl in Indianapolis listening to WIBC. Hey, Carl, you're on Free Talk Live.
How's it going, guys?
What's on your mind, Carl?
Yeah, so this is not the millennial bashing. It's kind of it's a different side of it. My folks they always had just the regular flip phones and never used text messaging whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad actually hated it, but then he got the actual smartphone, and now he does nothing but text message.
Well, it makes a big difference when you can type a letter directly as opposed to having to hit the number 2 3 times so you can get the letter C. You know?
Yeah. Also,
that's exactly the case.
I had for a long time. I was looking for these smartphones that had the slide-out tray with the QWERTY keyboard on it.
Yeah, you wouldn't
buy
buy a phone that didn't have that tray for a while.
Right. For a long time, I wasn't doing that. I like the buttons, but at some point or another, I had to bite the bullet. The tyranny of the touchpad is here, and there's no getting around it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It becomes enveloping, and we don't have a choice, and you have to just live with it. And my dad realized that it is more efficient to communicate with text.
Well, it depends.
At times.
If you're having a conversation, no, it's not more efficient to communicate.
No. Indeed, it is not. It is definitely more efficient. If it's going to be more than 2 or 3 texts, you have to have a conversation.
Yeah,
and that's where the millennials don't get that.
Right, it's exhausting having one of these back and forth text conversations. You're killing me with this stuff. So it's another form of communication, and it is right for some
purposes,
and it is wrong for others. And this is
indeed,
this is there in the twain we must meet.
Good call, Carl. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. There's still a few more tips here that we've only really gotten through part of number 1, and I've got 4 of them. So we'll continue on tips on reducing your reliance and your addiction to smartphones. And it's not use a tablet instead. 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live, Hour 3 on the way.
For Bitcoin to be ubiquitous, people need to use it. For people to use it, they must have it. How can we get Bitcoin into more hands? Well, tipping might be a great way. What if you could include a bonus Bitcoin tip along with your regular tip to a server? What if that Bitcoin returned to you if unclaimed after 30 days? An attractive business card-sized Bitcoin tip that is easily claimed, gives instructions on wallets, spending, and returns to the user if unused? Tip.freetalklive.com. Tip.freetalklive.com.
Are you searching for your soulmate? Someone you can trust, who will never betray you or cooperate with the NSA? Stop searching. With EasyDNS, you found a keeper. EasyDNS does it all. Domain names, web hosting, and managed WordPress hosting. EasyDNS stands up for your internet freedom, and with servers in Canada, they do not cooperate with the NSA. Go to EasyDNS.com. You'll love their services or get a full refund. They guarantee it. And they accept Bitcoin. That's EasyDNS.com.
If you want to move to the free state and you're looking for some real estate.
Oof, I think we've all had enough of that jingle, don't you? If you're going to invest in property in New Hampshire, it just makes sense to support a Liberty-friendly realtor. Call Mark Warden of Team Porcupine Real Estate for investment property or rentals in the Free State. Or visit his website. Come on, you know it.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, July 2nd, 2016. Silver is trading at $19.78 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,342 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $679. Antiwar.com reports 4 high-ranking members of the Libyan Unity government have been announced to have resigned, according to a statement by the UN-backed Unity government. The 4 were identified as the Finance Minister, Justice Minister, Industry Minister, and Reconciliation Minister. Other reports indicated that the 4 were fired by the Unity government, though the indications were that none of the 4 had ever actually agreed to join the government in the first place and were part of the cabinet formed in Tunisia. The Tunis cabinet was formed at the behest of the United Nations and included figures from both the Tripoli and Tobruk parliaments, with an eye on convincing both parliaments to endorse the new government. Ultimately, neither parliament has. The 4 ministers identified on Friday were all from the eastern part of the country and associated with the Tobruk parliament, which itself is UN-backed, but which has repeatedly declined to endorse the unity government. The original UN plan was for the Tobruk parliament to become the de facto Libyan lower house of parliament under the unity government, with the Tripoli parliament serving as an advisory council. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports President Barack Obama signed a bill Thursday aimed at speeding up the government's response time to requests made under the Freedom of Information Act. With his own administration often criticized for failing to respond to FOIA requests quickly or fully, the president said the reform law will make it easier, faster, and cheaper for citizens to obtain government information under the 50-year-old law. Obama told reporters, Congress, on a bipartisan basis, has provided the tools to legislation to codify some of the reforms we've already made and to expand more of these reforms so government is more responsive. Adding, I am very proud of all the work we've done to try to make government more open and responsive, but I know that people haven't always been satisfied with the speed with which they're getting responses and requests. Hopefully, this is going to help and be an important initiative for us to continue on the reform path. The bill also makes it harder for government to withhold certain kinds of information that is more than 25 years old. Obama acknowledged that while arguments continue over what should and should not be released, federal agencies are struggling to keep up with the requests that are streaming in. The bill contains measures designed to speed the process and make it easier to file for your request. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerary supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports a federal judge has blocked a Mississippi law intended to allow people who object on religious grounds to refuse weddings and other services to lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people. U.S. District Judge Carlton Reeves, in a ruling late on Thursday, said that the wide-ranging law adopted this spring unconstitutionally allowed arbitrary discrimination against the LGBT community, unmarried people, and others who do not share such views. Reeves, who issued a preliminary injunction halting the law that was to take effect on Friday, wrote, the state has put its thumb on the scale to favor some religious beliefs over others. Mississippi is among a handful of southern U.S. states on the front lines of legal battles over equality, privacy, and religious freedom after the U.S. Supreme Court last year legalized same-sex marriage in all 50 states. Mississippi's Protecting Freedom of Conscience from Government Discrimination Act sought to shield those who believe that marriage involves a man and a woman and that sexual relations should occur within such marriages. The law also protected the belief that gender is defined by sex at birth. By citing those 3 religious grounds, the law would have allowed people to refuse to provide a wide range of services, from baking a wedding cake for a same-sex couple to counseling and fertility services. It also permitted dress code and bathroom restrictions to be imposed on transgender people. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Tides are caused by the moon. The moon's gravitational pull also sucks up the feces and urine of the ocean floor, dumping it in the intertidal zones. The tide goes out, revealing pus-filled cysts known as tide pools. while the moon itself remains hypocritically pristine. Crabs are one of the many disgusting denizens of intertidal pools. They feed on feces and corpses with their demonic mouths. Scuttling hither and thither, they compete relentlessly for the juiciest excrement. Finding a walrus turd is truly nirvana for these abhorrent beasts. After accumulating too much filth to move, crabs bathe themselves in the ocean. Waste floods off the crab's exoskeleton and back into the tide pools as the cycle of begins anew.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever's on your mind. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. With you in studio, it's Ian.
And Mark.
855-450-3733. We're talking about addiction, specifically the addiction to your smartphone, which many of you have. Some of you may be listening to our voices from your smartphone, in which case we encourage you to continue. But it's those it's those other things on the smartphone that are bad, bad, bad. So we're actually sharing a story from Psychology Today and off and on throughout the show here tonight, where there's discussion of a study that was done with some undergraduate students averaging age 25. They installed an app on their phone, which is called, and I want to keep mentioning it because it sounds like it could be kind of useful, Instant Quantified Self, which tracks how often you unlock your phone each day and how many minutes at a time you are then using your phone when it's unlocked, totaling how much per day? Well, in the case of the study, it was 4 hours. They use the phone roughly 60 times a day for about 4 minutes each time, and so that totaled up about 4 hours just on their phones. Does not include total time on laptops, other tablets, or other devices. So what are people doing on their phones? Well, of course, checking social networking, etc. And so there's some suggestions here as to what to do about it. And one guy on Facebook, Don, says that he is addicted to his phone. He won't be renewing his next contract and is going back to the cheapest, most basic phone that he can. He hates his addiction.
Well, we'll see whether Don's able to pull that off. He sounds like the guy who says, this year I'm going to work out at the gym.
It's my last pack of cigarettes.
Yeah, and that's what all the fat people do, right, is they make fun of the guy who says he's going to go off to the gym and change his life. So good luck, Don.
Rick is on the line in Madison, Wisconsin, listening to Wait a minute. If he's in Madison, he's listening to WXXM. If he's in Janesville, he's listening to WCLO. Where are you tonight, Rick?
Right now, I'm actually in Janesville.
Okay, you're in Janesville, so you are listening to WCLO. So welcome to the program. What's on your mind tonight?
Hey, I just wanted to let you know, hey, I am a Generation Xer, and I am proud to be a Generation Xer. I feel like Generation X is the ones who made all the technology better. We demanded faster. We demanded better. But as far as the cell phone goes, I used to work in a call center, and I would take 200 calls a day.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was off of work, the last thing I wanted to do was to talk on my phone.
Sure.
So when texting came along, I love it. And now, I think in the technology, as far as the talk to text technology, it's pretty good. Sometimes I gotta, double check it to make sure it's not sending out something inappropriate. But for the most part,
if you're talking to somebody about a vacuum cleaner, you better be very careful.
What's it going to think?
Vacuum?
Yeah.
Just mouth it to yourself in the mirror.
Exactly.
Okay.
But yeah. So I think that I don't feel like I'm addicted to it. There's many times that I've my phone has run out of battery or I've left it at home, and I was totally fine. And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's the absence of the hard landline that has us a little bit, at least for me, causes a bit of anxiety. Because if there's no way to get in touch with me, I have a bit of anxiety as far as that's concerned. When I go to work, there are hard lines, so I don't feel so I don't have that anxiety. But when I'm at home and there's not really a way for someone to get in touch with me, if my phone is dead or if I can't find it or if I left it at work, there's that anxiety as far as not having that landline.
Yeah, I think we're used to the idea that we can get a hold of people now, and it is a safer way to be. I mean, that's one of the first reason anybody gets a cell phone is I want to keep it in the car in case we break down.
Rick, thanks for the call tonight, man.
Why didn't you tell yourself, right?
I appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
I wonder how many times the cell phone salesmen hear that little pitch. Hey, I just want it in the car in case something bad happens, and then the people are back in trying to get a bigger plan, Yeah.
Let's continue here. Some suggestions on to how to break this habit, to break the addiction. The author over at psychologytoday.com suggests that you can slowly wean yourself off by not responding to alerts and notifications by shutting down tabs when you're working at your computer. Just close the tabs. Don't minimize them because it could still act as a visual stimuli. He says shut them down unless you're actively working with those tabs. Second, assuming your phone is nearby, which it always is, set an alarm for 15 minutes. Put it on silent with the vibrate when silent option turned off. Turn it face down and place it in a location nearby where you can see it. This means you will not see any alerts or get any vibrating notifications, but the phone will be a stimulus to tell you that you will get to it in 15 minutes or less. When the alarm rings, check any app, website, or whatever for 1 minute. Then repeat the process. When you're comfortable with waiting 15 minutes to check in, increase the time to 20, 25, 30 minutes or more. You will know your brain has assimilated to this process when the alarm goes off, and you keep working, if even for just another minute or two. Now, that's an interesting proposal. Basically, you can still have your notifications showing on your phone, but don't make a verbal or don't have an auditory buzzing or any kind of notice that it's happening. And that way you can lose yourself in your work maybe for a few moments rather than you were talking about the distractions of these notifications earlier. So interesting proposal there. Number 2, instead of checking your messages when you receive alerts, check them on a time schedule. Alert friends, family, and colleagues that you're going on a 30-minute plan or whatever suits you. You're only checking messages every 30 minutes. Promise them you'll get back to them shortly when you do, but that you need to make this shift to increase your focus. Shut down your email account on all devices and remove all alerts and notifications, auditory, visual, kinesthetic, from your apps. Set an alarm for 30 minutes and only check text, social media, email, and other apps at that time.
So, along this line, I have posted at the bottom of my email, I say, in the interest of having a more fulfilling life and spending quality time with my family, I generally don't spend much time online on the weekends or holidays. I'll try to take care of your issue as quickly as I can during work hours, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p. Eastern. Thanks for your patience. Because I think in this world of connectedness, people have an expectation that you're going to take care of whatever their issue is within the next 20 minutes. And frankly, my time's pulled in a whole bunch of different directions. You and I run this show as a business as opposed to many radio talk show hosts who, they're basically just commentators. We're not just talent. We're the back end office.
It may feel like a business, Mark, but ultimately it's actually a project of the Shire Free Church, and it's more of a church outreach ministry than it really is a business.
I understand. The terminology business can apply to what we do. Yes.
It could be business in that you're busy with it, I suppose. Number 3, do not work with the technology for more than about 90 minutes at a time. Take short 10-minute breaks and do something that doesn't use technology to calm and reset your brain. Walking in nature works. Problem is, though, if you got your phone with you, at least I've noticed this, I have seen myself, I've checked my phone, I've been on the phone when I'm walking the dog. Even at nighttime. And I'll only do it because I feel like I'm safe on the road because I'm walking in an area where there really aren't any cars and I know there's not any potholes or whatever for me to step in. So I'm sort of aware of the problem at the very least. I know I have a problem going on here. So does playing a musical instrument, meditating, exercising, listening to music, and taking a hot bath or shower. You know implicitly what calms your brain. 10 minutes is all it takes. And finally, number 4 on his list of suggestions to break the habit and the addiction. Number 4, using technology at night ruins your sleep and the important brain processes that happen while you rest. Remove your phone and other devices that are used close to your face for at least 1 hour prior to attempting sleep.
Everybody says this, right? Like no screens prior to bed.
I've never heard this before.
No?
No.
Well, the idea is that there's light emanating from these screens.
Yeah.
And obviously it is. And, you're just a small group primate, fresh off the savannah, frankly. And so when you're shining all that light into your eyes, you're not prepared for sleep.
I don't know if I buy this one because people have been watching television before bed historically.
Well, they don't want them to watch that either.
Well, actually, his suggestion here is that you could watch television rather than looking at this. I guess the idea is if you're holding it close to you, that's somehow worse than having a 50-inch screen across the room from you?
Maybe.
I don't think so. 855-450 free. What are your suggestions? What did you do to defeat your addiction, or are you hopelessly addicted? You can talk about that too. 855-450 free.
Every once in a while you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Hello?
Congratulations.
For what?
For losing all that weight. How'd you do it so fast?
ASAP.
ASAP what? What's that mean?
Are you ready to get as skinny as possible, as soon as possible, as simple as possible, and as sexy as possible?
I'm listening.
Then get with the ASAP program. It's real and it works. No smooth talk, no slick advertising, and no exaggerated claims of success.
I've got to know more.
Welcome to ASAP, as slim as possible. Whether you have 10, 20, or 50 pounds to lose, ASAP is your weight loss answer. ASAP targets the abnormal fat reserves and makes them available to be burned as fuel and contains no caffeine or hormones. Order ASAP at wholesale prices or join the team to share the business with others. Go to GCNteam.com or call 855-GCN-MALL. That's 855-426-6255. GCNteam.com or 855-426-6255. Lose weight and look great with ASAP, as slim as possible.
Saying that he was giving his coworkers at Marley Publishing just a few more days to catch on to him, local mentally unstable man Michael Redding told reporters he planned on exhibiting 1 or 2 more warning signs this week before, quote, finally doing this.
I think I'll do just a couple of disconcerting things in front of people here at the office. Maybe give them a day or two to take action through the appropriate channels. But if that doesn't happen, then I'm going through with it.
The fully unhinged Redding, who plans on, quote, making this thing happen sometime next week, claims that despite displaying erratic and worrisome behavior around the office for the past few months, his actions have gone completely unreported by his coworkers.
I definitely talked about my frustration with life in general, and I even discussed my fascination with all sorts of violence. But that still didn't throw up any red flags. We'll see if anyone catches on.
Mike? I don't know him super well, but he's nice enough. He's quiet and he keeps to himself mostly, but I'm sure he'll come out of his shell. Just a matter of time.
This is the Onion News Network.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live, and you can join us. The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. How addicted are you? Has your addiction to your cell phone affected your life? Maybe you've lost your loved one over your addiction to cell phones. We've certainly heard stories of, like, video game addicts losing their girlfriend and losing their job. Has a phone addiction ever resulted in some real damage to relationships that you've experienced? Our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Ian and Mark in the studio here tonight. Coming up in a couple of months, actually less than a couple of months, HempFest is going to be happening here in New Hampshire. We have the privilege of being the first broadcasters to ever broadcast from the New Hampshire HempFest, I believe. And so we're going to be doing our show live Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. It's a full weekend, basically a party at Rogers Campground in the northern White Mountains of New Hampshire. Absolutely stunning location to camp. It's certainly going to be even more fun to have all kinds of bands and other fun things to do. You can go to nhempfest.com to learn more about the event. It's August 25th through the 28th, so getting down towards the end of the summertime in New Hampshire. Could be a little chilly, could be plenty warm. Well, you never know what the weather's going to be like in New Hampshire that time of year.
It's always a good idea to bring a jacket when you're in northern New Hampshire.
At nighttime, you can better believe you're going to need a jacket, even if it is warm during the day.
Anytime you go camping, you're going to want sort of some bug supplies.
You're going to need the VIP ticket in order to see our show live at HempFest. But even if you can't afford the VIP ticket, and they're really not that much more expensive, even if you can't afford it, we're still going to be around. We're going to be hanging out all weekend at HempFest. NHHempFest.com. It's the third annual. It's our first year going to be there, so I'm excited about it. But we're old hats at Rogers Campground. We've spent a lot of time there at other festivals. August 25th through the 28th, NHHempFest.com. We'll look forward to seeing you there. As we continue, you can bring up what you want. Mark?
Oh, I just want to say hi to all the Cop Block folks that are listening. We got to share on the Cop Block Facebook page, and it's bumped up our viewers on our new Facebook thing.
Right. It's our first night broadcasting the show on Facebook. We've been doing the show since 2002, so if you're new to Free Talk Live, we've been out here for a long time. This may have been the first time you came across us live on the internet. So welcome. We do the show live 7 nights a week. I'm an old school Cop Blocker. I was one of the first earliest supporters. Free Talk Live actually was one of the earliest supporters of Cop Block back in the day, sponsoring the tours that Pete Nademo went on way back when.
Yeah, so, Cop Block was sort of launched on Free Talk Live.
Some of you might have seen some of the keen Cop Block stuff going on out here. Of course, both Pete Nademo, the two founders of Cop Block, have lived here. They've actually lived in this house where we're broadcasting from. Right above where we're sitting is actually where the founders of Cop Block have lived. They slept in the same bed together. I bet you didn't know that about them.
Hey, look, man, whatever.
It wasn't a gay thing. They're just trying to save money. Toll-free number here, not that there'd be a problem if it was a gay thing. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Sarah is in Albuquerque, and you can bring up anything you want here on Free Talk Live. So go ahead, Sarah.
Yes, I just wanted to mention that, that we used to have a coast-to-coast. George Norrie used to come on from, 1 in the morning to, 5 a.m., but he got canned. I mean, he got discontinued about 5-6 years ago.
Well, that's not a true statement.
Yeah, he's still on the air.
You're referring to, because most of the things you say, you either are passing along misinformation. I don't think you ever try to lie to people, Sarah, but you're just full of misinformation. George Norrie is still the host of Coast to Coast AM. It's an overnight talk show, as you described. But maybe what you're saying is he was taken off the air on your local radio station. Maybe they put some other show on in his place, but he's continued to host that show ever since Art Bell left it many years ago.
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. Is I used to see, I'm on disability, so I don't work, so I used to stay up late at night and listen 1 to 2 on the KKOB, the local
Did you obsessively call that show as well?
You know what? I could never figure out. I would just, I never called in because I was just kind of half asleep trying to stay up.
You should have called the wild card line. Thanks for the call, Sarah. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Remember back
East
when
of the Rockies.
Yeah. They'd have the deep voice guy, and he'd give all these different phone numbers. What was that about?
This was nuts.
What was that about? I still
West
don't understand.
Of the Rockies.
I still don't understand that. Is it?
I don't know. I just don't
Does it
know.
have to do with like long distance fees or something like that? Or
Wasn't there a first-time caller line, too?
There was, yeah. The wild card line, the first-time caller line, west of the Rockies, east of the Rockies. There were at least 4 call-in lines for that show. But, you can have one phone number like we do,
Maybe it was because there was no go ahead.
And it can link to multiple phone lines. So it's not like they only had 4 lines in the studio or something like that.
Maybe they only had 4 lines in the studio, and that's how they did their production. They didn't have a phone screener, so they just went to a phone call, and now they'd have to have
You got to have a
screeners.
phone screener.
Yeah,
Show that large.
I have no idea then.
I mean, you got to know what kind of crazy crap the person's calling in about. So, if you want to take the ghost story, or you want to take the alien story, or you want to take the world's going to end story, or, you fill in the blank.
Nephilim.
Oh, by the way, there was somebody who posted, I think it was actually Virgil Viduva, posted on Facebook today a link to some NASA photos from the Apollo mission to the moon. I guess they just released a bunch of photos, like hundreds of photos apparently, that were taken on that mission. So they've released every photo now that they possibly have. And the allegations are it's to combat all the moon landing paranoiacs, all the conspiracy theorists who believe that the moon landing was fake.
We just need a telescope powerful enough to be able to see the flag on the moon. That's all.
And there's also a mirror that they can bounce lasers off of.
Yep, something like that.
Yeah. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE, but they're very pretty photos, so you should look for those if you're a big space geek. 855-450-3733. So we've been talking about smartphone addiction, and I did ask a question earlier, and we didn't really dig into this. I think it's kind of an interesting topic because we were talking about young people. Somebody called in and said he wouldn't let his son or daughter use a smartphone or any kind of phone
this
until
was
they
an imaginary son or daughter, remember?
Right. Until they were 16, he said. And I said, they're going to hate you. Your kids are going to hate you because young people today are constantly communicating with these devices, whether it's texting, Snapchat, or whatever it is they're doing now. There's something that they're doing, and it's always on the phone. So that'll be frustrating. But it led to, I think, a bigger question of this discussion of privacy. Because we talked about how in the old days, you could be on your phone in the 80s or whatever, and mom could pick up the extension to listen in, to see what you're talking about. Now, today, parents can demand that their kids, hand over their phones, put in their password, give them access to their Facebook accounts, things like that, so they can check up on them, these sort of nosy parents. And so how much is too much when it comes to getting in your kids' business? Should parents stay completely out of it? Or should you be, worried about what your kids are doing online and reading through their messages? I tend to lean on the stay out of it, respect your kids' privacy, and have a good relationship with them so they'll want to talk to you about the things that are happening in their life. What do you think, Mark? You've actually got a kid.
Well, that's the way to start, obviously, but it's difficult. I mean, kids are taught to compartmentalize their lives these days. There's the school them, there's the home them, there's the out in the neighborhood with the friends them, there's the over at the neighbor houses them, and that makes it difficult on a family relationship. We homeschool, so hopefully the attachments are greater.
So what is your answer? What do you think about restricting your kids' access or sort of overseeing what they're doing? 855-450-FREE.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com. Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phone, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
The warning signs.
First, he made me feel special. He promised he'd look after me, provide for my future. He broke every promise he made.
Millions of Americans afflicted.
I was ready to leave, but he told me he'd change. So I gave him another chance. I was such a fool.
The consequences.
Things only got worse. He started making my decisions for me. About my job, my kids' education, my money, my safety, my future. He took away my choices, but I kept going back to the same politicians.
The diagnosis? Battered voter syndrome.
I fell for the same old lies. They were just playing with my emotions, telling me what I wanted to hear. That's not right.
Stop the insanity of voting for the same old abusers. Declare your independence from the two-party system and join the New Hampshire Liberty Party today at nhliberty.info.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can join us here toll-free. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. With you in studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And don't forget to check out the 101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire. It's a great documentary film, about an hour long. And it goes through the full 101 reasons. And there's, of course, more than that. But there's some really solid reasons why, if you love the ideas of liberty, you should be here in New Hampshire, along with other people who care about freedom. There's a whole movement, a migration of thousands of liberty-loving people that are coming here. Find out why by going to 101reasonsfilm.com. That's 101reasonsfilm.com. I know we got a lot of Cop Block supporters watching tonight, thanks to our Facebook feed being shared on the Cop Block page. So welcome to the program. If you like the idea of doing cop blocking, if you've ever gone out in the streets and done cop blocking, well, now imagine what it's like with more cop blockers than you could possibly know. It's getting to that point in New Hampshire. It's not quite to that point, but if there's a DUI checkpoint in Manchester, it's not hard for 30, 40, 50 people to be out there at one of those things. That's because we've got the numbers, and we're getting more. More people are moving here. Find out why. 101reasonsfilm.com. As we continue, your calls and thoughts are welcome. We've been discussing addiction to cell phones throughout the show here tonight, and sort of led into a conversation about your kids and their privacy on their phones. What's your policy as a parent? Is it hands off, leave it alone, let them do whatever they want? Or is it nosy and intrusive and spy programs and demanding access to their Facebook accounts and reading messages? I imagine there's a range between one and the other when it comes to parenting.
Well, okay, so when we're talking about parenting and smartphones, I assume we're talking about, at the very least, tweens, right? Probably teens. Those are the age groups we're talking about.
Would more likely have smartphones, but we're seeing kids younger and younger getting them.
Yeah, I'm going to just go with tweens and teens. At that point, you're talking about people whose personalities have largely been put in place. The parents had their opportunity to mold the personalities. Mostly, whatever molding there was going to go on was going to be done between sort of 0 and 5.
So what you're saying is, by then you should know what you're dealing with?
Well, yeah, and you're going to know who your kid is, hopefully, and when whatever you were going to do to affect their behavior largely has been done. Right? So now all you're going to do is either be a resource for them to learn, more about the world, or you're going to be that scary prison guard that they're trying to avoid. One of the two.
Let's go to the phones here. Joel is on the line in Indianapolis, listening to WIBC. You're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark. Hey, Joel.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Welcome, sir. Doing great. Go ahead.
Thanks. I enjoy your show. I listen to it whenever I get a chance.
Excellent.
In the car on a Saturday night. First thing I wanted to mention about the cell phone addiction, yeah, it's definitely real, and I probably struggle with it to an extent. The only time that I would make an exception to always having your phone is, in my case, I am a business owner. And a lot, when I'm not at home, one thing I pride myself in is getting back with clients when they contact me, getting back with them quickly. And they appreciate that. A lot of times I'll get an email back saying, wow, thanks for that fast reply. So to be able to be connected at all times, and yeah, I hear that alert tone, and I'm not talking Facebook, somebody liked a picture. I'm talking, I get an alert tone for an email or a text. The industry I'm in, I'm a DJ. I deal with a lot of weddings, and couples these days. I'm guessing they'll be the millennials. A lot of them in an email, they say my preferred method of contact is texting, which is crazy to me to think. I mean, I'm 40. I text. I don't have a problem with it, but it's just that they want to communicate about their wedding via text, to get the ball rolling. But in cases like that, that's where texting is a must with the kids today. And
you're making money.
Having your phone, exactly. Right. Having your phone on you all the time and checking those alerts when it's business related. I think that's where it's the exception to the rule.
Now, is it to the point where you're responding to clients at 11 o'clock at night, or do you only kind of have business hours?
Well, for me, I own my company. And I know there are other DJs around that if it's after 5, it's after 6 on a weekday, they will get back with the couple the next morning. They're like, well, I'll call them back tomorrow. My evening time is family time. To send a quick reply to somebody takes 5 minutes. And if somebody emails me at 11 o'clock and I'm still up, absolutely I'm going to reply right away because I think it's good business.
Yeah, well, I think it is. And this is something that's talked about all the time inside of businesses. How can you be how can you be more reactive to the customer? And this is one of the ways to he's one of those the DJ who responds first has a significantly higher chance of closing that sale than the DJ who doesn't.
Absolutely.
Assuming you don't respond with go to sleep, you little worry warts. It's 11 o'clock at night.
Right. Exactly right. And I've had people hire me because they've said exactly that.
Yeah.
I sent out several inquiries and you got back to me right away, and I was waiting on some other ones because I got back to them first. It may have been 11 o'clock at night and I shot them a quick reply. that spoke volumes.
It definitely makes a difference.
They're wanting to make a decision when they're sending out those texts to people, or there's emails, or whatever it is that they're doing. They're ready to make their decision at that time. The first person to get back with them, especially if they get back within 30 minutes, is likely to close that deal because that person's ready to make a decision.
Yeah, as long as the price is good, and they might even be willing to pay a little bit extra for that service.
That's it. Well, if you're talking to somebody at 11 o'clock at night, and you're reasonably certain that you're the first one who's talking to them, that's when you should be. You shouldn't be ready to negotiate in your price quite so quickly.
Exactly.
Joel, thanks for sharing that with us tonight, man. Really appreciate it.
One other comment, quickly, if I could, because you guys just mentioned about the your kids' privacy and all that. And my main thing on that, and I have teenagers. The phrase that comes to mind is rules without relationship breeds rebellion.
Yeah.
And I think you guys made the comment that it starts with your relationship with your kids. Build a relationship. If you have a relationship, and I'm not an advocate for, be your kid's best friend. No, you're your kid's parent. You can be friends with them, but you don't want to be your kid's friends. You want to be their parent, but have a relationship with them. Build that from a young age. And with my kids, no, we don't monitor what they do online, but some people will call me stupid and ignorant, but I trust my kids because I know how we've raised them and I know what their values are. And I think that's the key. It's not, can I trust my kids? Well, I don't know. Can you? How have you raised them? What kind of relationship?
If you can't trust them, you've screwed it up already, right?
Exactly right.
Yep.
Good advice, Joel. Thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE.
With my 8-year-old, I try to remember I want to have 3 positive interactions for every negative one, and you can't help negative interactions.
Because you remember the negative ones, more likely.
And I mean, just today, right? He was supposed to be going to a birthday party, and we told him for an hour that he needed to eat before he went. Because you're going to get some cake, but you got to eat your lunch first.
Okay.
So, diddling around, Legos, playing on the we have ropes that hang from the ceiling so that he can swing around and stuff like that. Swinging around, doing everything but eating, talking to himself. And sometimes it's hard to get the concentration. So you have to keep on, bringing him back. And it felt like this is one of those times when there's too many negative interactions that are going on. So, as a father, or as a parent, you have to remember to keep those positive interactions going, because otherwise you just end up being the traffic cop. You, back in the lane. You, come on, what are you waiting for? That kind of thing. And that's, not optimal parenting, as if you're always just trying to get them to do things and yelling and doing all this other stuff. So
what's an example of a positive interaction?
What do I do? What I do is I grab him and we go into the bed and wrestle.
I see.
So that's always fun, and I try to make sure that I don't always win wrestling. So first I pound on him for a little while, and I let him pound on me for a little while, and for him, he's 8, and that's really great. And then we read comic books sometimes too.
Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. We got plenty of time for you here if you get your call in right now. The remaining moments of Free Talk Live are coming up here. 855-450-3733 or Skype into the show. Skype username is LRN.FM, the live Saturday edition of Free Talk Live here on Independence Day weekend. This is Free Talk Live. Take control of the airwaves.
People who can afford a LASIK procedure sure are lucky. Imagine being able to throw away your contacts and glasses. Imagine waking up tomorrow with 20/20 vision. Too bad everyone can't afford LASIK. Well, guess what? There's a company that agrees with you. TLC Laser Eye Centers is now offering great prices on high-quality LASIK to make it affordable for everyone. That means you get the latest FDA-approved all-laser LASIK technology for less than what others charge. And if you call right now, we'll schedule a free appointment so you can discover if LASIK is right for you. Results may vary. Call 1-800-930-9765. Even better, if you're one of the first 100 callers, ask about an extra $400 off your all-laser LASIK procedure. That's $200 off per eye. We've already performed over 2 million procedures. Let us help you. Discover how you can get the quality LASIK experience you deserve for less than what others charge. For your free appointment, call 1-800-930-9765. 1-800-930-9765.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com. I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us here in the remaining moments of the live Saturday edition right now at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Or if you don't get in tonight, maybe you're driving, you can't get to your phone quick enough, we're here tomorrow. And we're here on Independence Day as well. We're going to be here every day because we do this thing 7 nights a week live for your listening convenience. If you don't want to listen live, we've always got the podcast, downloadable archives, over at freetalklive.com. So be sure you go and enjoy the website. There's all kinds of free stuff there. You can actually create the content that you see there at freetalklive.com. It is a Reddit-based website, so it's free to use. In fact, all the features are totally free. It's just the front page that's based in Reddit. The rest of the site has all kinds of different stuff, including a webcam, a chat room, and more. There's a lot of stuff to explore over at freetalklive.com, and it is all completely free, though we do appreciate the support that we get from our Free Talk Live amplifiers. There's a few hundred of those folks that are helping us out behind the scenes. $5 a month is all it costs to become a Free Talk Live amplifier. So if you like what we're doing, one of the reasons we can actually, get the word out about liberty and freedom is because of listeners who back the show up as amplifiers. It helps us spread Free Talk Live to new radio stations around the country. We've got 170 right now, which is pretty darn good. Actually, a little bit more than that, which is pretty great. But we could have twice that. Just, more marketing budget would help. And so that's primarily what the AMP program does, is it helps us get on new stations. It helps us spread the satellite signal. It helps us get on new internet connections so more people can understand and come in contact with the ideas of liberty. If you want to help us with that and get perks like access to the AMP-only call-in lines, the AMP-only Facebook group, lots of you listening on Facebook here tonight, It's our first night streaming live on Facebook. We've got an AMP-only Facebook group, which is a great group. There's always a lot of stuff going on in there. And other AMP perks. You can get all the details over at amp.freetalklive.com, amp.freetalklive.com. We're talking about phones and addictions and how to break that addiction or at least lessen it. And I think the suggestions earlier from Psychology Today, the blog over at psychologytoday.com, were kind of interesting, although very similar. The first two, especially, they're numbered 1 and 2, but they're almost identical. The idea was set an alarm on your phone for 15 minutes out from now, and then set the phone down. Make sure it's completely silent, not even vibrating. So even if you miss a call, or you're going to miss whatever happens, you're going to miss the call, you're going to miss the texts, you just set the phone down and you work on what you're supposed to be working on. The alarm on the phone goes off. That means you get a minute to check your phone, respond to any texts that might have come in, or call back any people that might have called, and then you do it again. You put your phone down, set another 15-minute alarm until you finally get to the point where you can increase the amount of time, so 20, 25 minutes, 30 minutes at a time. That way you can really focus on the tasks that you're supposed to be doing without being distracted by the phone. I think that's an interesting proposal. Will I do it? I don't know.
Seems like a lot of work.
Well, that's true. Setting the alarms over and over again. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. Let's go to Douglas on the line in Indianapolis, listening to WIBC. Hey, Douglas.
How's it going?
Hey, what's on your mind tonight?
Yeah, so you were talking about parents checking up on their kids' phones and on their internet habits. That's assuming that their parents are technologically advanced enough to check up on their kids. Like, kids are going to know their parents are looking. They're going to get rid of everything.
Yeah, well, certainly young people generally are more technologically advanced than older people. There are some exceptions to that rule, but for the most part, I think that's a true statement.
We're talking about, what are the oldest parents running around out there at this point? I shouldn't say oldest,
Probably
but
people in their 50s.
What are their, what's the top quintile of parents? My son's 8, I'm 45.
And your son could probably beat you under the table with his knowledge about electronics.
Not. I don't hold on. We've read
you can
stories.
barely program a VCR. I don't know what you're talking about.
What the hell's a VCR? When the hell would we have one of these things? So the fact is that we've looked at studies, and millennials, or the young ones, they aren't that technologically adept. Sure, they can use social media, but they can't program a computer or anything like that. They may have spent a little time on Instagram, and I haven't, but that doesn't make them technologically advanced. I'm on a computer all day long.
Yeah, but what is your 8-year-old going to be looking at that you need to check up on anyways?
Nothing.
Like, realistically, we're talking about teenagers here.
No, I got him a Skype account so that he could talk to his friend in Minecraft, and sure enough, somebody who's like a FetGirl69 sends him a friend request, saying hi, she wants to talk.
It's a robot, right?
Right, of course it's a robot, but I'm like, oh, geez, there's nothing.
FetGirl?
Like
fetish? Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's just... It's ridiculous.
Well, you're never too early to come across 2 girls, 1 cup.
Yeah.
Oh, dear God.
Well, no, it does bring up a disturbing conversation, which is, young people have access to the internet today, which when we were growing up, it was, the Playboy magazine that got, somebody stole from his dad or whatever and is smuggling into school and showing around. I mean, things have changed a lot now, and you can easily encounter the most hardcore of pornography with the most innocent of Google searches in certain cases. And certainly these things get shared around. So if somebody comes across some outrageous thing like, Lemon Party or whatever, and then they share that, then that's going viral, and then before you know it, somebody your son's age, Mark, is going to see something like this. And so what they're finding is that younger people are encountering more hardcore pornography now than ever in the past. And the big question is, what is that doing to them? What is it doing? It's disturbing enough when you're an adult and you see things like what we're talking about. What is it like when you're that young? I can't even imagine.
I can't speak to it.
That's something that they'll have to study in the future.
They sure will be. When's the first time you saw? Thanks for the call tonight. Appreciate it. When's the first time you saw One Guy, One Jar? 855-450-FREE. I wouldn't recommend Googling any of these things.
No.
Yeah, none of them. Let's continue. Well, Lemon Party's not that bad. But,
no. Whatever it is, I don't even know what it is. But I know that if you're, I have some idea of what the general genre of which you speak. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you do not want to see that stuff.
George is in Mobile, Alabama. He's listening to WAVH on FM. Hey, George.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, what's on your mind tonight?
Yeah, I was wanting to speak to you about Bill Clinton and Loretta Lynch.
Okay.
Their meeting on the airplane.
I don't know anything about
this. No, don't know anything about it.
You don't know anything about it?
Nope.
No. What happened? Briefly, summarize.
Okay, well, Bill Clinton and Loretta Lynch ended up on the same aircraft together.
Okay.
And talked. And, Loretta Lynch is involved with Hillary Clinton
I didn't know
on these email scandals and things. And
isn't she a country music singer?
That's Loretta Lynn.
Yeah.
Who the hell's Loretta Lynch?
The Attorney General.
Oh.
Really plugged in,
Attorney
pal.
General, yeah.
Well, how am I supposed to know who all these thugs are? I mean, these guys are all a bunch of criminals as far as I'm concerned. Republicans, Democrats, Washington, D.C., it's full of them. Okay, so she talked to the Attorney General, or he talked to the Attorney General. All right.
Right, yes. And, they're not supposed to have any communications because they're dealing with the Hillary Clinton email scandals with the FBI. Yeah.
What would prohibit, is Bill Clinton sort of indicated as a possible culprit in that scandal? I mean, why is he not able to talk to somebody?
Oh, I have no idea, but, it's, the Attorney General is in part of the investigation of Hillary Clinton over the email scandals.
Sure.
And, right, okay. So, he's the ex-president, so he has Secret Service.
Yeah.
And you would think that the Secret Service would know everyone who's going to be aboard this aircraft and would have seen the Attorney General's name on the listing for being on that aircraft.
I mean, just to be clear, if the Attorney General is the top cop, they're the boss cop, basically, in the United States.
Yes, sir.
And there's no prohibition on a cop asking a suspect questions. So I don't think there's anything illegal about what happened here. If she could talk to Bill Clinton and try to get him to answer some questions, and if he, indicts his wife or something like that, or says something that's, possibly indictable for him.
They didn't mention anything about what's going on with the email scandals, and
I suspect
and all
not.
that. So they didn't talk about that.
How do you know what they talked about?
Golf and whatever, because I don't. But what I'm saying is he shouldn't have been on the same aircraft.
Well, I don't know.
If she was on. Because his Secret Service
should have informed
him.
George, thank you for the call tonight, man. I appreciate hearing from you. Who really cares about Bill Clinton and what he's doing?
I don't. I think it's there are a lot of people following this Hillary Clinton scandal thing. WikiLeaks,
right? They think it's going to somehow take her down. Come on, the U.S. government doesn't eat its own for the most part. Every now and then they'll sacrifice one to.
Tell it to Nixon.
Well, he lived large till the end of his life, didn't he? Hey, we'll see you tomorrow night. Online in the meantime, if you didn't get your call in tonight, call us tomorrow. We're here live for the Live Sunday Show, freetalklive.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Thursday, gold is $18 higher at $1,340 per ounce, and silver is 58 cents higher at $19.35 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $675 US. Since January 1st, gold is up 20% and silver is up 39%. For more information, call Robertson Roberts Brokerage at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The listen lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308.
The latest episode of Off the Air Live is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, July 2nd, 2016. Silver is trading at $19.78 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,342 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $679. Antiwar.com reports 4 high-ranking members of the Libyan Unity government have been announced to have resigned, according to a statement by the UN-backed Unity government. The 4 were identified as the Finance Minister, Justice Minister, Industry Minister, and Reconciliation Minister. Other reports indicated that the 4 were fired by the Unity government, though the indications were that none of the 4 had ever actually agreed